welcome to Tales in the Dark. I know many of you enjoy relaxing with these videos, so I recommend turning down the volume until my voice is barely audible. It'll make the experience even more soothing. Before you close your eyes, let me know in the comments where you're listening from. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you and enjoy listening. Story 1. Amid the hushed whispers of time, in a dimly lit corner of a forgotten bookstore, I was drawn to a weathered novel cloaked in the scent of ancient pages and long-lost memories. Within its fragile embrace nestled a shimmering bookmark, its ethereal glow beckoning me to unravel the enigmatic tale woven into the very essence of the book. As twilight descended, casting soft shadows that danced across the room, I found myself captivated by the bookmark's intricate dance of light and shadow. Its delicate patterns seemed to waver, like secrets shifting just beyond reach, elusive and tantalizing. Within the embrace of my cozy reading nook, the words of the Victorian romance on the pages began to weave a spell, transforming before my eyes. Familiar phrases took on new hues, and hidden narratives whispered between the lines, ephemeral as mist at dawn. Night after night, the bookmark's cool touch guided me back to the book, its presence a soothing balm in the quiet hours. The rustle of pages turned became a sacred rhythm, a lullaby that carried me into realms where words held magic and stories breathed. In the stillness of those nocturnal journeys, a haunting melody seemed to echo from the depths of the bookmark, a melody as ancient as time itself, stirring memories I couldn't quite grasp but felt deep in my bones. And in moments when sleep beckoned, I would drift into dreams only to awaken to find the bookmark had wandered to new pages, unveiling passages that spoke directly to my soul, of gardens veiled in secrecy, of doors that led to worlds unseen, of libraries where time danced to its own tune. The influence of the bookmark seeped beyond the confines of the book, infusing my world with a shimmering glow of significance. Reflections in antique mirrors held fleeting visions, and the green tendrils of plants mimicked the bookmark's intricate designs, whispering tales of their own. One quiet eve, as rain tapped gently on my window, words ghosted across the bookmark's surface, a tale of a librarian who wove starlight and stories into its very fabric, a key to unlocking the narratives hidden in the spaces between words. With each turn of a page, I delved deeper into the interconnected web of stories that wove through time and space, realizing that every tale, every word, every heartbeat was a thread in a grand tapestry of existence. And as days turned to weeks, a transformation stirred within me. Dreams became portals to endless libraries, and the world around me pulsed with the heartbeat of stories waiting to be discovered. The bookmark, a silent guide, whispered of the fluid nature of reality, of tales unfolding in every moment, in every breath, in every heartbeat. Pages rewrote themselves as I journeyed through the novel, characters shifting like shadows in the twilight, revealing new facets, new truths, new mysteries to unravel. And the bookmark, a silent witness, glowed with a warmth that spoke of unseen forces at play. As I reached the final chapters, the story seemed to twist and turn, like a river seeking the sea, flowing into realms uncharted, beckoning me to follow its winding path. In the quiet of pre-dawn hours, I glimpsed other readers like shadows flitting at the edge of sight, each cradling their own enchanted bookmarks, each a seeker of hidden truths in the tapestry of tales. And so as I pen these words, I ponder the mysteries that linger, the stories waiting to be told, the next reader who will trace their fingers along the cool surface of a magical bookmark and embark on a journey through realms unseen. For in every book, in every story, in every reader, lies the potential for discovery, for transformation, for becoming an explorer of the boundless realms that lie just beyond the veil of words. And as I drift into the embrace of night, the bookmark hums with the promise of untold stories, of endless possibilities, of a world where the written word is but a doorway to infinite wonders. Story 2. Amidst a twilight stroll along an unfamiliar path, my eyes caught sight of an ancient, rusty lantern swaying from a gnarled branch. Its flickering light held a mysterious allure, as if powered by an unseen force. The evening air was cool and moist, carrying the earthy fragrance of moss and wood smoke. The lantern's pulsing glow seemed to silently invite me to follow its enigmatic path down the forgotten trail. With each step, the gentle crunch of fallen leaves beneath my feet created a soothing cadence as I delved deeper into the encroaching darkness. Wisps of mist wound around the weathered tree trunks like spectral tendrils, their bark etched with the tales of ages past. The lantern's warm light danced just beyond reach, maintaining a constant distance no matter how steadily I walked. Shadows played tricks on the forest floor, moving in defiance of the gentle whispers of the wind above. The air grew heavy with the sense of rain-soaked soil and decaying leaves, a symphony of autumn's quiet metamorphosis. Time seemed to stretch and bend in this enchanted realm, flowing like honey from a spoon, sweet and unhurried. My fingers brushed against weathered wooden posts sporadically placed along the trail, each one bearing faint inscriptions smoothed by the passage of time. They leaned inward as if sharing ancient secrets as I passed by. Above, the twilight sky deepened into a velvety violet hue, yet the lantern's glow remained steadfast, casting its peculiar radiance. The path meandered through a grove where silver-barked trees stood in perfect circles, their branches intertwined to form natural arches. The lantern's light caught dewdrops on spider webs, turning them into starlit constellations. A distant owl's mournful hoot resonated through the stillness, carrying echoes of ancient knowing. Along the way, I noticed small objects deliberately placed: a worn marble, a tarnished pocket watch frozen at midnight, a bundle of letters bound with ribbon, their pages blank but heavy with untold tales. Each item pulsed with the same enigmatic energy as the lantern, weaving a trail of cryptic clues through the shadows. The temperature gradually dropped, wrapping around me like a comforting silk shawl. The lantern's glow shifted hues intermittently, from amber to azure, rose to violet, yet maintaining a constant golden warmth when I focused directly on it. My shadow, cast by the lantern's light, occasionally moved independently, a spectral dance echoing my steps, but with a will of its own. I arrived at a clearing where the trail expanded into a perfect circle, lined with smooth stone benches forming a semicircle facing an ancient well. The lantern's light revealed intricate carvings on the well's rim, depicting scenes that seemed to shift and morph with each glance. The air hung motionless, yet the water below shimmered, sending soft ripples up the stone shaft. As I drew closer, the lantern's glow intensified, revealing not only my reflection but shadowy figures standing nearby, vaguely familiar, yet indistinct. When I turned around, there was only emptiness and dancing shadows. The well exhaled a gentle breath, carrying whispers in languages almost familiar. Tiny script etched into the stones at my feet formed concentric circles spiraling towards the well's center, evoking memories of forgotten tales and soothing lullabies. Time lost its hold in that hallowed space. I sat on a stone bench, watching mist rise in intricate patterns from the well, illuminated by the lantern's light, shaping wordless narratives. The figures in the well's reflection continued their quiet activities, casting occasional glances of recognition towards me. As I rose to depart, the lantern descended to my eye level, guiding me down a new path diverging from the one I had arrived on. The mysterious figures from the well's reflection seemed to walk alongside me in the corner of my vision, a comforting presence rather than a haunting one. The journey back felt both extended and condensed, leading me through unseen groves, past ancient posts and stone benches, each scene seamlessly flowing into the next like chapters in a cherished tome. The air grew warmer, the scent of wood smoke richer, until I emerged onto a familiar trail, just as the dawn painted the sky in soft pastels. Glancing back, The path I had traversed had vanished into shadow. The lantern emitted a final warm pulse of light before gently fading away, leaving me with the profound feeling of having glimpsed a realm between dreams and reality. Even now, on quiet evenings, I catch the scent of moss and wood smoke on the breeze, and in those moments of solitude, I could swear I see the gentle golden glow beckoning from amidst the trees, tempting me to follow its mysterious light once more into the encroaching dusk. Story 3. In the hush of an early morning, cloaked in mist, I wandered into the depths of an ancient forest. There, towering above me, stood a colossal oak, with branches twisted and tangled like ancient secrets. Etched into its weathered trunk was a symbol unknown to my eyes, a glimmering message from the ages past, a silent beckoning from the hands of time itself. The air was heavy with the fragrance of pine and the freshness of dew, guiding me along a path unseen but felt in the depths of my soul. Soft earth cushioned each step I took, whispering tales of fallen leaves and forgotten whispers. The mist draped around me like a shroud, cocooning me in a tranquil embrace as I delved further into the enigmatic woods. Spiderwebs glistened with droplets of moisture, turning into fragile crystal adornments strung between the branches like nature's delicate jewelry. Running my fingers over the carved symbol, a gentle warmth spread through me, defying the chill of the morning air. The bark beneath my touch felt smooth, as if generations had traced these lines before, leaving behind a silent echo of their presence. As the light of dawn grew, my eyes caught sight of similar symbols adorning the neighboring trees, each one a unique piece of a mysterious puzzle, forming an elusive path through the wilderness. The forest transformed around me, trees drawing closer together, their branches weaving overhead to form natural arches under which I passed. Pale mushrooms emitted a soft glow in the shadows, their light flickering as if a secret heartbeat pulsed within. The air carried the sweet perfume of night-blooming flowers, a scent that lingered defiantly in the breaking dawn. Time slipped away as I followed the trail of symbols, the mist neither lifting nor thickening, holding me in a dreamlike trance. Occasional chimes echoed in the distance, ethereal notes like crystal bells stirred by an unseen breeze. Each sound tugged at my senses, pulling me deeper into the spell of this enchanted morning. Along the path, I stumbled upon curious treasures: a silver thimble intricately engraved, a pocket watch with hands that moved in reverse, a leather-bound journal aged yet pristine. These objects, though purposefully placed, seemed to shift in appearance, as if tailored to the eyes of each beholder. The symbols guided me to a clearing where ancient oaks formed a perfect circle, within which a weathered stone pedestal stood adorned with the same cryptic markings. As I drew near, the symbols danced and shifted, revealing hidden narratives in the dance of light and shadow. A soft breeze carried distant melodies, a haunting tune that seemed to drift from the very heart of the forest. I found myself humming along, a harmony born of unfamiliar yet familiar notes. In the center of the pedestal sat a polished bronze mirror, its surface clouded with age, reflecting not my image but glimpses of distant mornings, travelers, and epochs. Each fleeting image dissolved into the next, a tapestry of moments woven by unseen hands. The mirror radiated warmth as though touched by sunlight, though the mist enveloped the clearing in a veil of secrecy. Mesmerized by the shifting scenes, I realized the forest was a custodian of tales, a keeper of memories that transcended ordinary time. The symbols, the mist, the morning, all spoke in a language understood only by the heart that seeks the unknown. I was not the first to stand in that sacred circle, enraptured by the mysteries that danced in the spaces between reality and dreams. The forest whispered its riddles, and I listened, my spirit attuned to the harmony of the unseen world. In those woods, I did not find what I sought. Instead, I unearthed a greater truth, the beauty of unanswered questions, the significance of paths left uncharted. The symbols lingered in my dreams, shifting and morphing like the reflections in the mirror, a reminder of the profound mysteries that dwell in the realms of uncertainty. When the time came to depart, I turned to find the trail of symbols vanished, swallowed by the thickening mist. Yet, I harbored no fear, for the forest had shared its secrets, and I carried them with me, a treasure hidden in the recesses of my being. Sometimes, on mornings of quiet serenity, when dew adorns spiderwebs and mist weaves through the trees, I sense the echo of that distant melody, beckoning me to return to the ancient oak and its silent wisdom. Story 4. In a forgotten corner of the city, amidst the remnants of industries past, an unexpected sight caught my eye. An ancient iron violin leaned against a wall adorned with graffiti, a silent sentinel in a world of decay. When a sudden breeze danced through shattered windows, the violin awakened, releasing a haunting melody that lingered in the air like a ghostly whisper. The mingled scents of rust and rain painted the atmosphere with a melancholic hue, drawing me closer to the instrument that seemed to beckon with a tale of loss and faded dreams. Approaching with reverence, my steps echoed softly on the worn concrete floor, each footfall a gentle punctuation in the silence of the abandoned space. The violin stood out, its form crafted entirely from dark iron, adorned with intricate swirls and patterns etched into its weathered surface. Time had woven delicate traces of rust on its body, resembling the hues of autumn leaves, a testament to the passage of years in solitude. As the late afternoon sunlight filtered through broken panes, casting elongated shadows that swayed in a spectral dance, the violin's strings quivered with the whispers of the wind. Ethereal notes filled the empty expanse, carrying a sense of ancient sorrow and longing, as if the very essence of the instrument yearned to be heard. Seated beside the violin, a magnetic pull drawing me close yet cautious not to disturb its slumber, I noticed faint markings near its base, cryptic symbols and numbers hinting at a forgotten past. Time seemed to ebb and flow mysteriously within those walls, the soft patter of raindrops outside adding a delicate rhythm to the violin's enchanting melody. As darkness descended, a curious anomaly captured my attention. While shadows shifted and waned with the fading light, the violin's shadow remained steadfast, an enigmatic presence in the dimming room. Within its silhouette, phantom fingers seemed to caress invisible strings, a ghostly echo of the music that filled the space. With the intensifying rain, the violin's song evolved, weaving a tapestry of emotions that transcended the boundaries of time. A melancholic yet mesmerizing melody unfolded, narrating a tale of creation and passion, of an artist's soul immortalized in iron and music. I swayed to the ethereal tune, lost in a dreamlike trance as visions of a forge ablaze and hands sculpting metal into art flickered through my mind. The chill of the room deepened, yet I felt embraced by the music, each note seeping into my very essence. The violin's surface began to radiate a faint glow, defying the laws of nature as its patterns danced like liquid fire. In the shroud of night, the instrument emanated a soft luminescence, pulsing in harmony with its spectral melody. Hours drifted by like fleeting whispers, the music a timeless symphony that carried the weight of untold stories and forgotten melodies. With the first light of dawn painting the sky, the violin's song gradually faded, leaving behind a lingering fragrance of rain and metal, a testament to the night's enchantment. As I rose from my reverie, the rust patterns on the violin had shifted, forming new designs that whispered of unseen hands at work. Since that night, I have returned to the abandoned space, drawn by the memory of the iron violin and its haunting melody. Sometimes it rests undisturbed, a silent sentinel of the past. Other times it seems to move subtly, seeking the perfect resonance in the vast emptiness. But always when the rain falls and darkness embraces the world, the iron violin sings its ethereal song, a timeless echo of mysteries untold. That night changed me in profound ways, teaching me that music transcends mere sound, weaving together the threads of our stories, memories, and the enigmatic beauty of the unexplained. In the quiet moments before slumber, I can still hear the faint strains of the iron violin's melody, a siren call back to that rain-soaked evening when I glimpsed the profound truth that some mysteries are meant to be felt, not unraveled. Story 5. On a cold winter morning, right after the snow had blanketed the world in a fresh coat of white, I stumbled upon a set of footprints outside my doorstep. These footprints were not mine. They were large, distinct, and purposeful, leading off into the untouched snow with a sense of mystery hanging in the air. The scent of pine and frost lingered around me as I stood there, wrapped in my cozy wool sweater, watching as snowflakes danced down from the sky like delicate whispers. The world was draped in that unique hush that only a fresh snowfall can bring, where every sound felt muffled, yet strangely sharp. The old wooden porch beneath me groaned softly, a familiar sound that spoke of years gone by. Driven by an unexplainable urge, I fetched my winter gear, boots and coat, and prepared myself to follow those enigmatic tracks that beckoned me. Each step I took onto the porch sent a shiver through the crisp air, my breath forming fleeting clouds as I ventured out into the pristine winter landscape. The footprints were unlike any I had ever seen before, humanoid in shape, but with a depth and precision that hinted at something more. They formed a perfect line leading towards the ancient stone wall that bordered my property, where tall trees stood sentry in their winter slumber. As I followed the trail, I noticed a strange phenomenon. While the snow continued to fall gently, these footprints remained sharp and clear, untouched by the fresh powder settling around them. The wind whispered through the bare branches above, creating a haunting melody that seemed to grow louder with each step I took. A warmth radiated from those footprints, seeping through the soles of my boots, making me pause in wonder. Kneeling down to inspect one of the prints, I noticed intricate patterns within it, shifting subtly like living things. It sent a thrill through me, not of fear, but of awe. The morning light cast long shadows that seemed to point towards the path of my mysterious visitor. The air shifted, carrying a scent of ancient knowledge and forgotten secrets, as if the very forest itself held untold stories within its branches. Moving forward, the snow-laden branches formed a natural archway above me, guiding me along the path of the footprints. Time seemed to slow down in this enchanted space, each snowflake hanging in the air for an eternity. The silence deepened, wrapping around me like a comforting embrace, syncing with the gentle pulse I could feel underfoot. Approaching the stone wall, I noticed a section I had never paid attention to before. The stones seemed to shift and change, revealing hidden patterns when viewed from different angles. The final footprint led me to this spot, where the stones exuded a subtle warmth that melted the snow in intricate designs. Pressing my hand against the stone, I felt a resonance, a faint echo of a melody that lingered even after I withdrew my touch. That evening, as darkness descended over the landscape, the footprints began to glow with a soft, ethereal light, pulsing in harmony with the rhythm of the world around me. They beckoned towards the stone wall, a mysterious invitation that I couldn't resist. And now, on quiet winter mornings, I often find new sets of footprints leading me to different parts of the wall, each carrying that same warmth, that same gentle pulse. Though I never see who creates these prints, I have come to accept their presence as a comforting mystery. They remind me that even in the coldest of winters, there are places where reality blurs, where the known and unknown meet in harmony. I have learned to anticipate their arrival, the quiet before their appearance, the thickening of the air, the shift in shadows. Each visit is a chance to explore the gentle mysteries that linger at the edges of our world. The stone wall remains unchanged, yet somehow altered, a marker between the familiar and the enigmatic. In the pre-dawn hours, when the world holds its breath, I swear I can hear distant footsteps in the snow, moving with grace through the winter stillness, leaving behind memories etched into the frozen ground. Story 6. In the cozy embrace of my beloved coffee shop on a rainy morning, a neatly folded note awaited me on the table. The paper, crisp and adorned with elegant, unfamiliar script, carried a delicate blend of lavender and coffee scents. Reading the enigmatic message sent a shiver down my spine. This was no mere coincidence, but a deliberate invitation to unravel a hidden mystery within the ordinary. The note's directive was simple yet puzzling. Seek the woman in the pearl gray coat. She graces us every Tuesday precisely at 9:17 a.m. Without fail, she abstains from ordering, from speaking, yet she always leaves a trace behind. Intrigued, I found myself drawn back to the cafe week after week, enticed by an unexplainable curiosity. The soft patter of raindrops on the window pane became my serene companion, weaving a tranquil melody for my silent vigil. The comforting aroma of freshly brewed coffee and baked goods enveloped me, cocooning me in a sense of familiarity as I awaited her arrival. On the first Tuesday, I arrived early, selecting a secluded corner table providing a vantage point of both entrances. The cafe buzzed with subdued conversations and the clinking of ceramic cups, a peaceful symphony accompanying my patient watch. My gaze flitted between the antique clock's steady tick-tock and each new patron entering the establishment. Precisely at 9:17, she materialized. Draped in her pearl gray coat, she exuded a captivating aura, her form seemingly absorbing and radiating the soft light in equal measure. Her presence was both tangible and elusive, akin to morning mist bathed in sunlight. With graceful poise, she unfailingly chose the same window-side table each time. Her countenance veiled by a wide-brimmed hat, her hands, graceful, weathered, adorned with a solitary silver ring, hinted at stories untold. Week by week, I witnessed her ritual unfold with meticulous precision. Seated for a precise 7 minutes, she maintained impeccable posture, hands folded in her lap. Just as the note foretold, she refrained from placing any orders or engaging with others. Yet I began to discern the significance of the small items she left behind. A vintage button, a pressed flower, an aged compass with a cracked face, but a needle that spun with curious vitality. The cafe staff appeared oblivious to these tokens. Inquiring about the mysterious woman only elicited vague responses, as if she occupied a blind spot in their perception. One rainy Tuesday, I encountered her seated at my customary table. Though her features remained veiled, I sensed her acknowledgement of my presence. Before her lay an ancient leather-bound journal, its pages tinged with age. With a subtle nod, she gestured towards the chair opposite hers. As I settled into the seat, the cafe's ambient noises receded into a distant hum. The air between us crackled with latent energy, akin to the pregnant pause preceding a lightning strike. Her voice, reminiscent of autumn leaves whispering in a gentle breeze, broke the silence. "You have been observing," she stated, devoid of inquiry. Few still discern the patterns. Even fewer pause to watch, to ponder, to question the interstices of time. Flipping open the journal, she unveiled pages inscribed with the same elegant script from the initial note. "Time eludes conventional understanding," she elaborated, her fingers tracing the script. "It folds and unfolds, akin to origami, creating pockets where enigmas gather. Some traverse these folds, collecting what lingers in the crevices." The journal bore depictions of the artifacts she'd been leaving behind, each accompanied by coordinates, dates, and enigmatic annotations that seemed to shift and morph when viewed from varying angles. "Why me?" I inquired, my voice scarcely above a whisper. She smiled, her visage still obscured. "You possess the patience for patterns, the capacity to dwell in uncertainty sans the clamor for solutions. Most importantly, you grasp the essence that certain mysteries are meant to be experienced rather than deciphered." With a soft utterance, she rose, leaving the journal behind. "Your role begins now," she murmured. "Observe those who watch for the patterns. lead them back to wander through breadcrumbs of intrigue. Upon raising my gaze from the journal, she had vanished. The cafe's ambient symphony flooded back like a gentle tide. The rain persisted in its rhythmic dance against the windows, while the fragrance of coffee lingered in the air. The journal remained tangible beneath my touch, its pages now vacant, devoid of the once-present script. Each Tuesday at 9:17 a.m., I revisit the cafe. Occasionally I catch glimpses of kindred spirits like myself, silent observers. At times, I leave behind small tokens, a vintage key, a pressed leaf, a sea-smooth piece of glass, evocative of time's passage. Witnessing their discovery, I behold the spark of curiosity alighting in their eyes. Though the woman in the pearl gray coat has not returned, her essence lingers in the tranquil pauses between heartbeats, in the rain's gentle percussion on glass, in the ethereal tendrils of steam rising from coffee cups. I have come to realize that certain mysteries require not unraveling, but reverence, a passing on of whispered secrets in the ephemeral spaces between seconds. Story 7. On a quiet urban evening stroll, I found myself captivated by the statues adorning the park square. Bathed in the soft glow of a lone street lamp, their stoic faces seemed to exchange silent glances, as if engaged in a clandestine conversation. The night air was cool, carrying hints of rain and asphalt, prompting me to ponder whether these silent sentinels harbored the ancient tales of the city, shielded from the bustling pace of modernity. Amidst the array of statues, one in particular caught my eye, a Victorian-clad woman cradling a book. Her countenance exuded a tranquil serenity that drew me closer, like a beckoning whisper. As I approached, a gentle breeze rustled through the nearby trees, weaving a melodic tapestry in the air, drowning out the distant hum of traffic. The weathered sheen of her stone form caught the lamplight in a mesmerizing dance, casting ever-shifting patterns with each step I took. A peculiar detail caught my eye. Despite the recent rainfall, her book remained impeccably dry, a stark contrast to the glistening surroundings. This anomaly piqued my curiosity, though it held a fascination rather than unease. Subsequently, every evening found me drawn back to the park, lured by an inexplicable intrigue. Over time, subtle alterations in the statue's poses began to reveal themselves. Minor adjustments in head tilts and hand placements, almost imperceptible yet undeniably present. I questioned my own recollection, wondering if the shifting shadows toyed with my perception. One mist-laden night, the park draped itself in an ethereal shroud. The fog enveloped the statue's pedestals like wispy cotton, imbuing the atmosphere with a peculiar stillness. The woman with the book appeared different somehow. Her gaze, once fixed straight ahead, now seemed to lock onto the statue opposite her, a top-hatted gentleman clutching a pocket watch. The gentle drizzle's rhythmic patter on leaves provided a soothing backdrop as I settled onto a nearby bench. The moist air carried the earthy fragrance of wet stone and autumnal foliage, lulling me into a state of tranquil contemplation. I watched as mist and lamplight waltzed around these silent figures, casting an enchanting aura. As hours slipped by, a subtle vibration hummed in the air, akin to a distant cello's lowest note. It seemed to emanate from the spaces between the statues, weaving an almost imperceptible web of energy connecting them. Rather than instilling fear, this sensation felt like stumbling upon a clandestine performance reserved for the observant few. The woman's book began to emit a faint, ethereal glow, resembling moonlight dancing on water. Its pages seemed to turn, a motion unseen yet sensed with each blink. Across the path, the gentleman's pocket watch appeared to tick, though no audible tick-tock reached my ears. Park visitors passed by, engrossed in their worlds, oblivious to these subtle marvels. Gradually, it dawned on me that the statues conversed in a language beyond my understanding. Their dialogue unfolded in shadowy shifts, in the way moisture caressed their surfaces, in the delicate ballet of leaves swirling around their bases. They recounted epochs past, narrating the lives that ebbed around them like a river's flow around steadfast stones. The woman's book, I realized, harbored not pages but memories, fragments of stories gleaned from generations of park patrons who paused in their daily whirl to share a moment of serenity with these timeless witnesses. The gentleman's watch measured time not in hours and minutes, but in the unhurried cadence of seasons and years. Now on tranquil evenings, I bring my own book to the park. Beneath the gentle lamplight, I read, melding with their measured discourse. The statues seem to welcome my presence, enfolding me into their meticulous interplay of light and shadow. What once puzzled me has blossomed into something profound, a lesson that some mysteries are best left as gentle enigmas, that not all dialogues require words, and that the deepest connections often arise in profound silence. As I pen this chronicle, seated on my familiar bench as twilight deepens, the woman with the book appears to offer a subtle smile, or perhaps it's a trick of light on aged metal. The gentleman's watch gleams in the lamplight, ticking away in its enigmatic manner. The mist descends once more, enveloping me in the timeless tale shared between stone observers and those attuned enough to witness their silent ballet. Story 8. On a misty coastal night, I ventured to an abandoned pier that stretched into the murky, restless waters. Etched into a worn beam were intricate symbols softly glowing under the moon's gentle gaze. The briny breeze whispered secrets, and as my fingers traced the marks, I sensed a connection to a hidden truth beneath the waves. The rhythmic lullaby of waves against aged pillars beckoned me into a trance-like state of contemplation. Standing there, the wooden planks seemed to murmur with echoes of bygone footsteps, carrying whispers of time long past. The air held the tang of salt and damp wood, mingled with an ancient essence, evoking memories of forgotten chambers and dusty tomes. Night after night, I found myself drawn back to that pier, captivated by an inexplicable allure. Each visit unveiled new nuances in the enigmatic symbols, curves dancing in the moon's glow, lines weaving intricate patterns with the shifting tide. The soft creak of the planks became a companion, a dialogue between the sea and the structure reaching into its depths. During my 5th visit, a peculiar warmth enveloped the marked beam, contrasting with the cool maritime air. Placing my hand against it, I felt a gentle pulse resonating in harmony with my heartbeat, like cradling a cup of tea that never cooled. The fog enveloped me in a comforting embrace, muffling sounds and distorting time, creating a cocoon of serenity. Sometimes, amidst the hushed atmosphere, I fancied a soft hum rising from beneath the pier, blending with the ocean's cadence. One tranquil evening by the marked beam, I observed the water below, unusually placid and reflective as obsidian. Beneath the mirror-like surface, elusive shadows glided purposefully, too fluid to be fish, yet too indistinct to identify. The symbols began to infiltrate my dreams, morphing into maps of uncharted realms or pulsing beneath my fingertips like living script. I chronicled their transformations in a journal, noting their subtle shifts with the lunar phases. Weeks passed, revealing that other visitors remained oblivious to the markings, their gazes sliding past the beam indifferently. The turning point arrived with the new moon. In the absence of lunar light, the symbols emitted a soft phosphorescence, casting a mystical glow of blue-green light that undulated like subaquatic currents. The warm pulse intensified, and the subterranean hum beneath the pier grew clearer, resonating with notes akin to ancient speech. Near the marked beam, curious artifacts appeared, smooth stones adorned with spirals, iridescent shell fragments emanating an inner glow, and strands of silvery seaweed woven into delicate patterns. Each item felt like a coded message, their meanings eluding comprehension. Now, as I pen these words, I realize my entwined fate with this enigma. The symbols manifest beyond the pier, in bathroom mirror condensation, rain-swept window patterns, and cream swirls in morning coffee. They transcend mere symbolism, evolving into a conversation deciphered gradually. The pier transcends its physical form, becoming a portal between the familiar and the unfathomable. The enigmatic allure of the symbols persists, a mystery unfolding incrementally, withholding its entirety, yet offering morsels to sustain my nocturnal sojourns. I've learned to find solace in uncertainty, embracing the allure of the unknown. As I sit here, shrouded in mist, feeling the familiar pulse beneath my touch, I comprehend my role in this ongoing narrative, contributing a chapter to an ancient saga unfolding in the ethereal realm bridging land and sea. Story 9. As I embarked on my early morning stroll through the tranquil meadow, a sense of calm enveloped me. The dew glistened like scattered diamonds upon the grass, inviting me to pause and behold its natural beauty. To my amazement, the droplets had united to form intricate letters, a script penned by the hand of nature itself. The air was filled with the earthy fragrance of damp soil and wildflowers, creating a serene atmosphere that whispered of secrets untold. It felt as though this ephemeral message was a private communication meant solely for my eyes and heart. The morning mist lingered, casting a soft, pearly gray veil over the landscape, embracing every living thing in its gentle caress. Kneeling down to inspect the dewdrops more closely, my every exhale sent delicate ripples through the moisture-laden air. The letters appeared to shimmer and sway, their forms just beyond the grasp of understanding. Each stroke and curve resembled exquisite calligraphy crafted from liquid crystal, a fleeting masterpiece of nature's artistry. Intrigued by this mysterious phenomenon, I found myself drawn back to the meadow each morning, unable to resist the enigmatic allure that beckoned me forth. With each new day, fresh messages emerged, their true meaning eluding me like a wisp of smoke in the wind. The dew script evolved with the sun's warming touch, shifting from clear, defined characters to abstract designs that melded seamlessly into the verdant carpet below. At times, foreign words in unknown tongues would materialize, their shapes both familiar and alien, teasing the boundaries of comprehension. The gentle rustle of the breeze through the tall grass became my companion, a soothing melody accompanied by the melodic chirping of early birds heralding the break of dawn. I began chronicling these ethereal messages in a weathered leather journal, my fingers tracing the lingering dampness of the pages as I transcribed the enigmatic symbols before me. The paper bore a subtle ripple from the moisture, as if preserving the essence of the dew-born letters within its fibers. One mist-laden morning, a new revelation awaited me. The script had shifted, spiraling outward from a central point to form an intricate mandala of words and symbols that seemed to pulse with a quiet energy. The usual sounds of daybreak were hushed, as if the very meadow held its breath in anticipation. A tingling sensation prickled my skin as I followed the mesmerizing spiral with rapt attention, attempting to decipher its cryptic pattern. The messages began appearing in unexpected places, etched in the condensation on my bedroom window, aligned with precision, materializing in the tendrils of steam rising from my morning tea, fleeting yet significant. Even the frost patterns on autumn leaves bore hints of this cryptic communication, weaving a tapestry of mystery across the natural world. In my dreams, I witnessed the scripts coming to life, flowing like molten silver through landscapes of shadow and light, whispering secrets in voices of rustling leaves and distant wind chimes. Each morning, I awoke with a fleeting sense of almost grasping the elusive meaning, only to watch it slip away like water through cupped hands. My journal burgeoned with each passing day, its pages a testament to this gentle enigma that had woven itself into the fabric of my existence. I spent hours studying the patterns, noting how they mirrored the phases of the moon, the changing seasons, the subtle shifts in the morning light. A deeper rhythm began to reveal itself, hinting at a profound dialogue between earth and sky, a timeless conversation expressed through the language of dew. As winter approached, the messages grew scarce, appearing only on pristine mornings when the air was crisp and still. Each occurrence became a cherished moment, a reminder of the transient beauty that graced the meadow. The frost lent its own interpretation to the script, etching delicate messages into the frozen blades of grass, creating a spectacle of sparkling diamonds beneath the pale winter sun. Years have passed, yet I still return to the meadow, though the messages now appear infrequently. I ponder if their purpose was to lead me to this state of quiet contemplation, this serene appreciation of the subtle wonders of dawn. The dew still adorns the grass and leaves in perfect spheres, and though the distinct letters have faded, I discern a new narrative within their intricate patterns, a testament to the fact that not all mysteries are meant to be unraveled to hold meaning. My journal rests upon my desk, a repository of those early morning revelations captured in ink. When I peruse its pages now, I observe how the sketched designs seem to shift and transform under varying lights, akin to the ephemeral dance of the dew script itself. Perhaps understanding was never the ultimate goal. Perhaps the true gift lay in those quiet moments of awe, in the act of pausing to witness the world's small marvels with patient, grateful eyes. The meadow stands as my sanctuary, where the boundary between the ordinary and the extraordinary blurs in the first light of day. While the crystalline messages remain a puzzle yet unsolved, their presence has left an indelible imprint upon my soul, teaching me that life's most profound experiences often lie not in grand revelations, but in the gentle unfolding of questions without answers. Story 10. In the depths of the attic, amidst the whispers of time, a hidden canvas awaited my discovery. Tucked away behind a weathered trunk, it beckoned with a silent invitation. The painting, suspended in a realm between completion and eternity, captured a figure in the throes of transformation, an ethereal dance of light and shadow that stirred something deep within me. Familiar yet elusive, the features on the canvas seemed to hold secrets of a past unknown to me. A musty fragrance clung to the air, mingling with the essence of aged paper and forgotten memories. I found myself drawn to the portrait, its delicate brushstrokes a tapestry of emotions left unspoken. Seated upon a weathered chair, I watched as dust motes pirouetted in the slender stream of light filtering through the attic window, casting a soft glow upon the unfinished masterpiece. The face on the canvas existed in a realm of its own, a fusion of clarity and obscurity, as if the artist's hand had been guided by a higher force, only to be interrupted mid-creation. The house itself seemed to murmur in a language of ancient whispers, a comforting presence as I delved into the enigmatic depths of the painting. Tracing the worn edges of the frame with gentle fingertips, I felt the passage of time etched into the wood, a silent witness to years long gone. But it was the eyes of the portrait that held me captive, their gaze a beacon of unfathomable depth that transcended the boundaries of mere paint and canvas. As twilight descended upon the attic, a golden luminescence bathed the room, casting elongated shadows across the wooden floor. A cool breeze slipped through a crack in the window, carrying with it the promise of autumn's embrace. It was then, in the fading light, that I began to speak softly to the portrait, weaving tales of bygone days and whispered dreams into the stillness of the room. In the shifting shadows of dusk, the painting revealed its mysteries. Brushstrokes seemed to shift and dance, transforming before my eyes in a mesmerizing display of fluidity. Unfinished yet ever evolving, the portrait teased me with glimpses of a smile, a hint of sorrow, a myriad of emotions captured in a single moment of eternity. Time lost its meaning in that hallowed space. Hours melted into minutes as I immersed myself in the intricate details of the artwork. And there, hidden behind the canvas, a faint inscription whispered, "Remember, the light changes everything." The words, penned in a hand both elegant and tremulous, resonated with a haunting familiarity that tugged at the corners of my soul. Drawing forth journals and photographs from the depths of the house, I surrounded the portrait with fragments of a forgotten past, seeking to unravel the enigma that lay before me. But the answers remained elusive, obscured by the veil of time that shrouded the attic in a cloak of secrets. On sleepless nights, I sought solace in the company of the portrait. Bathed in the silvery glow of moonlight, it seemed to come alive, exuding a quiet energy that soothed my restless spirit. In those silent hours, whispers of forgotten lullabies filled the air, intertwining with the gentle creaks and sighs of the ancient house. With each passing night, the portrait revealed new facets of its elusive nature. Features once blurred began to crystallize in my mind, taking on a life of their own beyond the confines of the canvas. The eyes, windows to a soul unseen, mirrored my innermost thoughts and emotions, shifting with the ebb and flow of my moods. The painting became a mirror of introspection, reflecting not my outward form but the essence of my being, unveiling layers of emotion and memory long dormant within me. And so I shared my stories with the portrait, confiding dreams and fears in the hushed intimacy of the attic's embrace. As seasons waltzed outside the attic window, a revelation dawned upon me. The portrait's incompleteness was not a flaw, but a deliberate choice, a testament to the perpetual cycle of transformation and renewal. Each viewing, each change of light, brought forth a new interpretation, a fresh perspective on the enigmatic figure captured in eternal flux. I did not seek to unravel the mystery that shrouded the portrait's origin. Instead, I embraced my role as its custodian, preserving the delicate equilibrium between revelation and ambiguity. The attic became a sanctuary of timelessness, where the boundaries of reality blurred like the fading edges of the painting. And so, as the years slipped by, I continued to ascend the narrow stairs to commune with the portrait. Sometimes, a notebook in hand, I documented the ever-shifting interplay of light and shadow upon the canvas. But mostly, I sat in reverent silence, sharing the quietude with a presence that had woven itself into the fabric of my existence. The portrait remained eternally unfinished, a testament to the beauty of imperfection and the allure of the unknown. In its incompleteness lay its perfection, a canvas alive with the whispers of stories untold and emotions unspoken. The mystery, I realized, was not meant to be unraveled but experienced, a tapestry of moments in the gentle embrace of the dust-laden attic light. Story 11. Strolling alone near the edge of a dense forest, a faint, almost imperceptible howl startled me, sending ripples through the treetops. The air was crisp with the scent of pine and damp earth, enticing me to peer into the shadowy depths of the woods, where mysteries lay hidden just beyond the light. Sunlight filtered through the canopy, casting dappled shadows that danced on the forest floor as I treaded deeper into the woods, each step accompanied by the satisfying crunch of leaves and twigs underfoot. The air grew thick with the fragrance of moss and decay, strangely refreshing in its earthy embrace. An unexplained pull drew me forward, curiosity overpowering any sense of caution. The familiar sounds of the outside world gradually faded, replaced by the rustling of leaves in the gentle breeze, creating a soft, whispered symphony. Occasionally, movements flickered in my peripheral vision, vanishing when I turned to look, leaving only swaying branches and shifting shadows in their wake. The howl returned, barely audible, perhaps a figment of my imagination. This time it carried a different quality, a melodic undertone woven into the wind. The forest fell silent, as if holding its breath. Birds ceased their songs and insects hushed. In the stillness, a subtle energy vibrated in the air, causing the hair on my arms to stand on end. A clearing appeared, trees forming a perfect circle around a serene pond. The water mirrored the cloudy sky, undisturbed by the slightest ripple. Approaching, I noticed my reflection behaving oddly, lagging behind my movements as if struggling to keep pace with reality. The air chilled, and mist began to rise from the ground in delicate tendrils, coiling around my ankles like cool silk. The luminescent mist emitted a soft, pulsating glow that harmonized with the forest's breath. Shapes moved within the mist, elusive forms reminiscent of deer, yet more ethereal, their fluid motions defying nature. The howl drew closer, its ghostly softness enveloping me in a gentle trance, blurring the boundary between the physical realm and the unknown. The trees seemed to lean in, their branches reaching towards the clearing like inquisitive spectators. Faces formed in their twisted bark, ancient and wise, observing my every move with patient interest. Time slipped away, hours passing unnoticed as the mist thickened, enveloping the clearing in swirling white. The howl transformed into an ancient song, revealing secrets buried deep within the earth, mysteries predating human presence in those woods. Suspended between reality and dream, I sensed a presence behind me, carrying scents of wildflowers and morning frost. Instinct urged me to turn, yet I remained motionless, held in place by fear or the knowledge that some enigmas are best left untouched. As the presence drew nearer, a profound peace washed over me, the forest exhaling ancient whispers in forgotten tongues. I understood I had stumbled upon a rare pocket of the world where the veil between the known and unknown wore thin. Without turning, I closed my eyes, surrendering to the forest's melodic embrace. When I opened my eyes, the mist had dissipated, the clearing returning to its ordinary state. Walking back through the woods, I carried with me the certainty of an extraordinary encounter, forever altering my perception of the world. On quiet nights, when the wind caresses the trees, I still hear that distant, silent howl, a half-remembered dream beckoning me to listen, unveiling the enduring mystery and wonder that await those who dare to explore. Story 12. On a solitary night in an abandoned fairground, my attention was captivated by an ancient carousel, its colorful horses locked in a timeless stance. In the hush of the night, a faint hum seemed to radiate from the motionless ride, as though beckoning me to rediscover its past enchantment. The air carried a wistful blend of sawdust and faded sweets, a tranquil call from yesteryears. The night enveloped me like velvet as I approached the carousel, my steps absorbed by the dewy grass underfoot. Moonbeams filtered through wispy clouds, casting soft shadows that danced over the weathered wooden figures and tarnished poles. Each horse bore a solemn gaze, as if safeguarding ancient mysteries, their painted eyes concealing tales of countless riders who once reveled in their joyous journey. A particular horse caught my eye, a pale mare with faint traces of gold lingering in its mane. Unlike the rest, its head was slightly turned, almost as if it had just noticed my presence. The brass pole that secured it gleamed with an unexplainable warmth, despite the cool night air. Standing before it, a subtle melody, reminiscent of a music box in a dream, seemed to serenade my senses. My hand extended, almost compelled to touch the mare's weathered surface. The wood felt unexpectedly warm beneath my fingertips, radiating a comforting heat on this autumn evening. A gentle vibration pulsed through my palm, akin to a heartbeat, sending a tranquil warmth coursing through my veins. The world around me began to shift, not abruptly, but with the gradual transition from dusk to nightfall. The air grew heavy with the sweet scents of cotton candy and caramel apples, though the fairground lay deserted. In the distance, a faint whisper of calliope music drifted, barely audible, teasing the edges of my perception. Connected to the carousel horse, memories not my own began to surface like gentle ripples on a placid pond. I witnessed children from different eras, their faces alive with laughter as they rode these very horses. I felt the exuberance of numerous summer evenings, the touch of countless small hands grasping these same reins. Yet beneath these recollections lay a deeper memory, pulsing beneath the surface. The carousel was more than just a ride. It was a collector of moments, a guardian of time. Each revolution had gathered not just the mirth of its riders, but their dreams, aspirations, and silent wishes whispered beneath the summer stars. The pale mare seemed to share its secrets with me, unveiling them one gentle pulse at a time. I learned that some riders returned as adults, accompanied by their children, while others sought solace in their twilight years, yearning to reclaim a moment of pure bliss from their youth. The carousel remembered them all, cradled them within its wooden heart. As these visions enveloped me, subtle changes unfurled in my surroundings. The peeling paint on the carousel began to shift and swirl, revealing glimpses of its former grandeur. The tarnished poles emitted a soft glow, and the air grew dense with the weight of accumulated time. I realized I wasn't merely reliving memories, I was being beckoned to become a part of them. The carousel extended an invitation for me to contribute my own story to its ancient tapestry. Time seemed to ebb differently now. The moonlight took on an iridescent hue, and I lost track of how long I stood there, my hand resting on the pale mare's neck. The boundary between past and present blurred, akin to tissue paper in a gentle rain. Then a sight captivated me, sending a shiver of awe down my spine. Reflected in the carousel's central mirror, I glimpsed not only myself, but echoes of others who had stood in this very spot. Their forms were translucent, like watercolors left in the sun, yet their expressions were clear, serene, curious, ensnared in the same enchantment that held me captive. I comprehended the carousel's offering. It didn't just store memories, but moments of perfect serenity, of connection bridging past and present. Each individual who had paused here, touched by this same magic, became part of its eternal waltz. As the night deepened, I made a choice. I gingerly mounted the pale mare, settling into the saddle that had cradled myriad before me. No music played, no machinery whirred, yet I sensed the subtle rotation of time swirling around me like a gentle carousel of stars. In that instant of absolute stillness, I became a fragment of something greater than myself, a narrative sans beginning or end, only the eternal twirl of the carousel through time. The night embraced me as I perched there, contributing my own quiet moment to the carousel's treasury of memories. To this day, I ponder whether others sense it too, that subtle beckoning as they pass by ancient carousels by night. Perhaps they too catch whispers of tales carried on the breath of time, recounting the stories of all souls who paused here, ensnared in the gentle enchantment of the wooden horses and their timeless waltz with memory. Story 13. As I strolled through a serene neighborhood on an unseasonably balmy night, a captivating aroma enveloped me, a fusion of exotic spices intertwined with a subtle sweetness. The fragrance wafted through the tranquil midnight atmosphere, leaving me pondering whether it was a trick of the mind or a signal from something mystical. My senses had always been finely tuned to sense, attuned to nuances in the air that eluded others. Yet, this particular scent was distinct, almost purposeful, as if it possessed a mind of its own. The gentle warmth of the night draped around me like silk, carrying whispers of cardamom, saffron, and an elusive deeper essence. My steps seemed guided by an invisible force, tracing a path only I could perceive. The street lights cast pools of amber light that pulsed softly, akin to lethargic fireflies. In the distance, the crickets orchestrated their nightly serenade, harmonizing with the gentle rustle of leaves in the breeze. The enigmatic fragrance intensified as I turned into a narrow alley flanked by ancient Victorian houses. Their aged wooden fronts towered above, windows reflecting starlight like sentient gazes. The scent wove its way between the houses, drawing me further into the neighborhood's embrace. The air had thickened, almost tangible now. The spicy sweetness had acquired hints of weathered wood and musty paper, reminiscent of antique tomes tucked away in forgotten libraries. A subtle electric sensation tingled in my fingertips, and I sensed the presence of unseen entities gathering around me, curious yet benign. A porch light flickered in the distance, its warm luminescence inviting me closer. As I approached, I recognized the house, though I was certain I had never laid eyes on it before. The intricate gingerbread trim cast elaborate shadows, while wind chimes chimed a soft, melodious tune that seemed to blend with the mysterious fragrance. The scent became overpowering, accompanied by fleeting memories not my own. Glimpses of bygone candlelit dinners, echoes of laughter resonating through grand rooms, the whisper of silk garments gliding over polished floors. These visions drifted through my mind like autumn leaves on a stream, elusive and transient. Standing before the house, I caught sight of movement behind an upper window, a gentle swaying of curtains, though no breeze stirred the air. Anticipation hung heavy in the atmosphere, and the spicy sweet fragrance pulsed in sync with my heartbeat. I felt as though I straddled the boundary between two worlds, one foot in the present and the other in a timeless realm where scents held memories and dwellings retained echoes of their past. Time seemed to elongate, each moment stretching like honey trickling from a spoon. The crickets fell into hushed silence, and even the wind chimes paused their song. In that profound stillness, I grasped a revelation about the intertwining of memory and time, how certain places harbored remnants of yesteryears, and how scents could span the chasm between then and now. The fragrance began to dissipate, vanishing like morning mist beneath sunlight. As it faded, I felt a gentle caress on my shoulder, light as a moth's wing. When I turned, only empty space greeted me, yet the warmth lingered like a tender parting touch. I wended my way home through the quiet streets, the mysterious scent now a mere memory. But something fundamental had shifted within me, a newfound understanding of the delicate veil separating the ordinary from the extraordinary, the present from the past. Occasionally on warm, still nights, I catch faint traces of that spicy sweet fragrance, pondering if it seeks another soul to share its tale, to traverse the boundary between dreams and reality in the velvety embrace of midnight. The following morning, I endeavored to convey the scent to others, yet words faltered in capturing its essence. Perhaps such encounters transcend language, residing in the realm of sensation and memory where logic holds no sway. Now, whenever I venture through that neighborhood, I inhale deeply, yearning to encounter that ethereal fragrance once more, acknowledging that certain mysteries are meant to be felt rather than deciphered. Story 14. In a forgotten corner of the attic, I stumbled upon a chest filled with secrets. Amidst the dust and shadows, a leather-bound diary caught my eye. Its yellowed pages whispered of bygone days, carrying the scent of aged paper and vanilla. The delicate script within belonged to Elizabeth, a mysterious figure whose words beckoned me into a world of enigma and intrigue. As I sank into an ancient armchair, the floorboards murmured beneath me, blending with the gentle patter of rain on the attic windows. Elizabeth's entries revealed a nightly ritual that unfolded at the stroke of midnight, a soft, ethereal hum that wove through the walls of her room, like a melody from a distant realm. She described it as a tranquil sound, akin to wind chimes on a summer breeze, lasting for 7 minutes before vanishing into the silence of night. With each page turned, Elizabeth's writing grew more vivid, painting vivid pictures of the shifting shadows and dancing lights that accompanied the midnight hum. Her dreams intertwined with reality, leading her to a vast library of enigmatic tomes bound in weathered leather, their secrets hidden in mirror writing illuminated by moonlight. Preserved within the diary were delicate pressed flowers, violets, forget-me-nots, and sprigs of lavender, each tied to a unique experience recounted by Elizabeth. The lavender, in particular, marked nights of heightened vibrations and unspoken truths, hinting at a profound legacy she felt entrusted to safeguard. As I neared the final entry, a subtle chill enveloped the attic, setting the stage for Elizabeth's serene acceptance of her role as a keeper of mysteries. She spoke of a silent passing of knowledge, a gentle handover of guardianship to an unknown successor, all veiled in cryptic elegance. Closing the diary, a newfound warmth seeped through its cover, infusing the room with a hushed glow. The rain outside took on a deeper cadence, as if carrying messages from realms beyond. A glance at the timepiece on my wrist stirred a curious anticipation for the approaching midnight hour, wondering if the enigmatic hum would grace my ears as well. In the nights that ensued, the diary remained a silent companion, its secrets resting unspoken yet palpable. Sometimes, in the hush between wakefulness and slumber, I fancied I could discern the echo of wind chimes in the distance. Placed by my bedside, the diary exuded a blend of comfort and enigma, a beacon of untold legacies waiting to unfurl. On nights when the moon cast its silvery glow, the room's shadows seemed to sway with a newfound rhythm, a dance of unseen forces at play. Though my own words had yet to grace its pages, I began to press flowers between the blank sheets, sensing a connection to Elizabeth's legacy, a whisper of understanding awaiting its time to bloom. As I drift into the realm of dreams, I find solace in the knowledge that some mysteries are not meant to be rushed, but rather savored like petals unfurling under the moon's watchful gaze, revealing secrets both ancient and timeless. Story 15. On a frigid winter night, I embarked on a journey down a narrow alley veiled in a delicate coat of ice. Beneath my feet, the frozen debris crunched in a symphony of frost. Amongst the echoes of my own steps, a different set of footprints beckoned me forward, their presence shrouded in mystery. The chill in the air bore a subtle hint of metal, urging me to follow the enigmatic trail into a tableau suspended in time. Moonbeams stretched long shadows through billowing steam that rose from metal grates, painting ethereal shapes that danced upon frosted brick walls. Each exhale formed a wispy cloud before me, mingling with the mist that hung in the tranquil night. The footprints I pursued possessed a peculiar shimmer, as if they had captured fragments of starlight within each step, an otherworldly quality I had never before witnessed. Tracing my fingers along the rough brick, I allowed the coarse texture to anchor me in reality, while my thoughts drifted through the realm of possibilities. The soft echo of my footsteps intertwined with the distant whisper of the wind, creating a soothing rhythm that embraced the quietude of the empty streets. At intervals, I halted to listen to the gentle pulse of the night enveloping me. The alley seemed to stretch endlessly, bathed in the warm pools of light cast by old gas lamps. Their glow reflected off the ice in mesmerizing patterns that held me captivated as I ventured deeper into the frozen labyrinth. With each step, the temperature plummeted until even the insides of my nostrils felt frozen with each breath. The metallic scent intensified, reminiscent of aged copper coins left out in the winter rain. Following the mysterious footprints led me to a weathered wooden door nestled within the ancient brick wall, its surface a silvery gray, etched with intricate shifting patterns that seemed to come alive when viewed from different angles. What intrigued me most was how the footprints abruptly halted at the threshold, as if their creator had vanished into thin air. When my hand brushed the cold handle, a burning sensation prickled my skin, yet an inexplicable force urged me to maintain contact. Through the metal, a subtle vibration pulsed like a distant heartbeat or the echo of distant footsteps, resonating through my body as I stood transfixed. Driven by an instinct beyond my comprehension, I turned the handle. The door swung open effortlessly, revealing not a room but a corridor crafted entirely of ice. Soft blue luminescence emanated from the walls without a discernible source, and the air that wafted out carried the warmth of a spring dawn. Crossing the threshold, the door clicked shut behind me with a sense of finality that paradoxically felt welcoming. Beneath my feet, the solid ground possessed a cloud-like quality, rendering each step weightless as I advanced down the curved corridor, its end obscured from view. Embedded within the ice, I noticed what appeared to be frozen photographs, depicting scenes from varied times and places, all linked by the presence of the shimmering footprints I had followed. As I delved deeper, the photographs seemed to come alive, offering glimpses into the lives of countless others who had trodden this path of curiosity and yearning. Some faces seemed familiar, though we had never crossed paths, while others bore a knowing recognition, their gazes following me with silent smiles. Time lost its linear hold within that icy realm. Minutes and hours intertwined as the steady pulse within the walls guided my journey. Gradually, I comprehended that I wasn't merely tracing footsteps. I was navigating through the collective memories of those who had sought solace in this hidden passage between moments. The corridor defied conventional boundaries, and with a sudden realization, I understood that I had gleaned what I needed, though articulating it remained beyond my grasp. Upon turning back, the passage had transformed into the familiar street of my own neighborhood. Yet the shimmering footprints lingered in the ice, a silent testament to the intertwining paths of seekers through time. In the years that followed that fateful night, I found solace in the allure of the unknown, a comforting embrace rather than a source of trepidation. The mysteries that enveloped me served as a gentle reminder that some enigmas are meant to be experienced and carried within us, rather than unraveled. As winter nights descend with their metallic fragrance, I am drawn to quiet alleys and concealed doorways where I glimpse fellow seekers following their own trails of mysterious footprints, weaving a tapestry of shared wonder and curiosity. In the quiet moments of reflection, I recall the shimmer of those footprints, a reminder that the mysteries of existence are not meant to be deciphered, but embraced, allowing a sense of wonder to envelop our daily lives if only we pause to acknowledge its presence. Story 16. Deep within the forgotten recesses of an abandoned library, my curiosity led me to a secluded alcove, a sanctuary of relics and aged photographs. A soft mist enveloped the space, mingling with the fragrance of ancient paper and cedar, creating an atmosphere of tranquility. Among the forgotten treasures, a veiled portrait beckoned me, a silent guardian of a past veiled by the sands of time. The portrait depicted a woman in Victorian garb, her features weathered, yet her eyes remarkably vivid, seemingly gazing into my soul as I traversed the alcove, venturing deeper into the library's neglected heart. The creaking floorboards whispered beneath my steps, releasing delicate clouds of dust that twirled in the faint beams of light filtering through the grimy windows. A weathered desk near the portrait caught my attention, its surface adorned with rings left by long-gone teacups. Tracing my fingers along the smooth wood, I discovered a weathered journal nestled in a drawer. Opening it released a waft of lavender and ink, its elegant faded script recounting tales from the late 1800s. As I delved into the entries, a subtle chill filled the air, and the light shifted, casting a warm golden glow reminiscent of a sunlit afternoon. The journal belonged to Elizabeth Blackwood, the keeper of the library, who chronicled peculiar events within its walls. Books relocating overnight, ghostly whispers in empty chambers, and a mysterious collection of volumes said to harbor memories rather than words. According to Elizabeth, these books could unveil glimpses of the past when bathed in a certain light. As I immersed myself in her words, the atmosphere around me seemed to shift. Dust particles danced purposefully in the air, swirling in patterns akin to waltzing couples. Faint sounds of pages turning echoed from distant corners, though I knew solitude enveloped me, or so I thought upon my arrival. A gentle breeze carried the distant strains of a piano, a melody so ethereal it might have been a figment of imagination. The music floated through the walls, weaving a haunting yet familiar tune unknown to my ears. The portrait of Elizabeth now appeared clearer, as if time momentarily rewound its grasp on her visage. Continuing to read, I learned of Elizabeth's realization that the library existed in a state of temporal flux, where past and present intertwined during twilight, blurring the line between reality and memory. Responding to my thoughts, the room's light wavered once more. Shadows detached from their origins, dancing independently, revealing spectral figures in period attire browsing empty shelves, their forms translucent yet unmistakable. Elizabeth's writings proposed a theory, a belief that the library harbored not just books, but the echoes of emotions and events, creating a tapestry of memories accessible to the sensitive few. Tremors ran through my fingers as I turned to the journal's final pages. Urgent entries detailed Elizabeth's gradual assimilation into the library's enigmatic history, witnessing her own reflection donning attire from bygone eras and hearing her voice echo words unspoken. The last entry ended abruptly, hinting at an interruption. Closing the journal, my reflection in a nearby window momentarily wore antiquated clothing, revealing Elizabeth at her desk, penning the very words I had just read. Blinking dispelled the vision, yet a lingering connection remained. Elizabeth's portrait now appeared less like a relic and more like a portal, offering glimpses into a realm where the library's essence thrived. The air hung heavy with myriad untold stories as I reverently returned the journal to its resting place. Observing my reflection in the desk's sheen, subtle changes in my features hinted at the library's embrace of my presence, a comforting acknowledgement that its memories embraced all who traversed its halls. As I readied to depart, I cast a final glance at Elizabeth's portrait. In the dimming light, her countenance seemed to soften into a knowing smile, prompting me to ponder if another wanderer would one day uncover traces of my visit woven into the tapestry of the library's enigmatic aura, just as I had unearthed Elizabeth's legacy shrouded in the gentle veils of time. So on a dreary afternoon, amidst the usual stack of mail, I stumbled upon an unmarked envelope that seemed to beckon my attention. The aged paper within unfolded to reveal handwritten words that stirred a sense of nostalgia within me. A nostalgia for moments and places unknown to my conscious mind. A subtle fragrance, a blend of old ink and lavender, wafted through the room, casting a spell of mystery and intrigue over my thoughts. The paper itself felt fragile, its edges softened by the passage of time, as if it held secrets waiting to be unveiled. Outside, rain tapped gently against the window, creating a tranquil melody that harmonized with the rhythmic beat of my heart. The warm glow of the reading lamp enveloped the letter in an amber aura, causing the elegant script to come alive before my eyes. My dearest friend, the letter began, setting the stage for a tale that seemed to transcend reality. It spoke of a summer house, a place of cherished memories that I had no recollection of, yet could almost feel the sun's warmth on my skin and hear the soothing melody of waves in the distance. As I delved deeper into the letter, the crackling of the fireplace beside me provided a soothing accompaniment, enhancing the sense of immersion in this enigmatic narrative. Each word seemed to unlock a hidden chamber of my mind, revealing memories that felt simultaneously foreign and intimately familiar. The sense of salt air and freshly cut grass, the sensation of smooth wooden floorboards beneath bare feet, the soft rustle of cotton curtains stirred by a gentle breeze. All these sensations flooded my senses, blurring the line between reality and illusion. The letter painted vivid images of afternoon teas served in delicate china cups adorned with blue flowers, of hushed conversations in a garden where roses bloomed eternally, and of a mysterious locked room on the third floor shrouded in secrecy. With each description, the phantom memories grew stronger, more vivid, pulling me deeper into a world that seemed to exist beyond the confines of my own experiences. Beside me, my cat purred softly, a grounding presence in the midst of this ethereal journey. Turning to the second page, I found the handwriting as steady and graceful as before, detailing scenes that now felt as tangible as the chair I sat upon. I could almost feel the misty morning gardens, the flickering shadows cast by candlelight, the haunting strains of piano music drifting through empty corridors. The wooden floors beneath me creaked softly as I shifted in my seat, the sound echoing the mysterious midnight sighs of the summer house's ancient floorboards described in the letter. The scent of lavender permeated the air, no longer confined to the paper, but enveloping the entire room, carrying with it a weight of memories that seemed to belong to another lifetime. Or did they? The letter spoke of shared secrets, unspoken bonds, and promises whispered in the shadows. It mentioned a locket that I was said to always wear, containing a photograph of two young women standing before a grand estate. My hand instinctively reached for my neck, finding only bare skin, yet the phantom presence of that locket lingered, a ghostly reminder of a past I could not recall. Outside, the rain continued its gentle serenade, its whispers now mingling with the words on the page, elusive and tantalizing. The letter recounted rainy days spent in the library of the summer house, surrounded by books whose titles seemed to shift when one's gaze wandered. I tried to grasp these memories, to anchor them in the reality I knew, yet they slipped through my fingers like sand. As I approached the final page, the ink appeared to fade slightly, as if the words themselves were on the brink of dissolving into the mists of time. The writer spoke of a pivotal choice we had once made, a decision that held the power to reshape the very fabric of existence. They described a midnight ritual in the garden, under a moon whose shadows defied logic and reason. The conclusion of the letter was both a farewell and a prelude to new beginnings. Remember, dear friend, that our memories are but threads in a tapestry of endless possibilities. The story we choose to believe about ourselves shapes our reality. Perhaps this letter will offer you a different narrative to embrace, or perhaps it will merely awaken the one you have chosen to forget. Signed with a cryptic initial that seemed to shift with each glance, the letter bore the weight of 1,000 untold tales. Folding the paper along its well-worn creases, I caught a glimpse of my reflection in the window glass, illuminated by the soft lamplight. For an instant, it seemed as though another face stared back at me, a face familiar yet alien, hinting at a connection deeper than mere recollection. As the rain subsided, the scent of lavender gradually faded, leaving behind a lingering sense of something lost and found. Carefully tucking the letter back into its envelope, I knew that my memories, whether real or imagined, borrowed or stolen, had been forever altered by the words inscribed upon that yellowed page. Drifting off to sleep in my favorite armchair, I could still hear the distant echoes of waves and piano music, and feel the phantom weight of a locket that had never graced my neck. Story 18. On a midnight journey back home, the nearly vacant subway car felt unusually burdensome. In the distant corner, a solitary figure sat in silence, its gaze fixed upon me as the train clattered through dim tunnels. The air hung heavy with the mingled scents of sweat and stagnant air, and a disquieting feeling of being observed settled upon me. The gentle sway of the car and the rhythmic click-clack of wheels against tracks wove a mesmerizing symphony that typically would have ushered me into slumber. However, this night was different. My focus kept gravitating back to the stranger, whose mere presence seemed to warp the very essence of reality surrounding them. The fluorescent lights overhead sporadically flickered, casting eerie shadows that danced along the scarred metal walls. I observed something peculiar about my fellow traveler. Their outline appeared slightly distorted, as if glimpsed through a rain-smeared window. With each blink or shift of my gaze, their contours momentarily sharpened before softening once more. The effect was subtle enough that I might have attributed it to my weary eyes, had it not been for what unfolded next. The stranger extended their hand in what seemed like a greeting, yet the motion left lingering trails in the air, akin to the way sparklers trace light patterns in the night sky. Every gesture sent ripples through the space around them, warping the advertisements on the walls behind. The temperature within the car seemed to plummet, and a shiver crept up my arms. Time began to feel pliable, stretching and contracting with each breath. The intervals between stops lengthened. The darkness beyond the windows grew deeper and more profound. The usual ambient noises of the subway, the rush of air, the mechanical creaks, the distant echoes, all faded into a velvety silence, leaving only the heartbeat rhythm of wheels on tracks. I found myself scrutinizing their attire, a blend of modern and antiquated styles. A coat that could have been worn yesterday or a century ago, shoes that seemed to shift designs when not under direct scrutiny. Their countenance remained shrouded in shadow despite the overhead illumination, as if darkness itself clung to them. The stranger began to hum, though the sound was not audible to my ears. Instead, I sensed the melody reverberating in my chest, a haunting tune reminiscent of childhood lullabies and forgotten reveries. My eyelids grew heavy, yet I resisted the urge to succumb, ensnared between comfort and disquiet. Subtle transformations unfolded within the subway car. Advertisements displayed different images when glimpsed peripherally. The metal poles appeared to bend at impossible angles before snapping back to normalcy upon direct focus. The windows reflected scenes that defied reality: gardens, libraries, distant constellations. The stranger rose gracefully, their movements fluid as water in zero gravity. Advancing towards me, I noticed their feet barely grazed the floor. An opalescent shimmer enveloped the air around them, akin to heat waves rising from sun-baked pavement. Their presence exuded a sense of ancient wisdom and boundless patience. Taking a seat opposite me, I briefly glimpsed their face, kind and age-old, familiar yet impossible to commit to memory. When they spoke, their voice whispered like wind through autumn foliage. "You perceive beyond most," they conveyed, though their lips remained unmoving. It's rare to find one still awake at this twilight hour of existence. I yearned to reply, to unravel the myriad questions swirling in my mind, yet a profound tranquility enveloped me. The gentle sway of the train became a cradle, and the darkness outside the windows morphed into a comforting embrace. The stranger's presence ceased to evoke fear, instead resembling a reunion with a long-lost companion whose name lingered just beyond memory's reach. Upon reopening my eyes, I found myself alone in the subway car. The fluorescent lights hummed with customary harshness, the advertisements promoting familiar wares. The air had reverted to its usual temperature, and the sounds of the subway resumed their habitual cadence. Yet something had shifted. A subtle iridescence clung to my attire in the window's reflection, akin to dewdrops in a spider's web. Nestled in my pocket, I discovered a ticket stub of unknown origin, imprinted with characters from an unfamiliar alphabet that I inexplicably comprehended. Henceforth, whenever I journey on the late-night subway, I keenly observe my fellow passengers. Occasionally, when the light strikes just so, I catch glimpses of distorted edges and lingering after-images. And on rare occasions, very rare, I perceive a distant hum that resonates not in my ears, but within my very essence. A reminder that reality is far more malleable than we envision, especially within those transitional realms between here and there, between wakefulness and slumber. Story 19. As I sifted through forgotten treasures in my attic, a faded photograph caught my eye, nestled within a weathered album. The image, frozen in time from decades past, seemed to subtly shift under my gaze. A fragrant blend of aged roses and yellowed parchment wafted around me, enveloping the space in a nostalgic haze. Were the figures in the picture attempting to whisper a tale long buried in the sands of time to me, the unsuspecting observer? The waning afternoon sun filtered through the dusty attic window, casting a warm golden hue upon the polished wooden floorboards. Settling into the embrace of an ancient rocking chair, the soft creaking of the aged wood beneath me formed a lulling cadence. My fingertips danced along the frayed edges of the photograph, tracing each delicate imperfection etched into its surface. The scene captured a bygone garden party, a relic of more refined eras. Elegant ladies draped in flowing gowns and gentlemen adorned in dapper attire stood frozen in their merriment, their smiles holding secrets untold. In the background loomed a stately Victorian mansion, its windows reflecting the setting sun of that distant evening. One figure, in particular, drew my focus. A woman garbed in a pristine white dress, slightly distanced from the others, her enigmatic gaze fixed upon the camera. A peculiar sensation washed over me as I studied her features. A subtle chill descended in the attic, mingling with the heightened fragrance of roses. Closing my eyes momentarily, I surrendered to the tranquility of the attic's embrace. Upon reopening my eyes, a peculiar transformation unfolded before me. The quality of light within the photograph shifted. The captured sunset now pulsed with a soft, luminous glow, infusing the scene with an ethereal radiance. The woman in the pearl-white dress appeared to have shifted her stance, her hand now reaching towards some unseen horizon just beyond the frame's edge. Captivated, I delved deeper into the photograph, the ambient sounds metamorphosing around me. The rocking chair's creak harmonized with a distant melody, akin to old gramophones playing forgotten tunes. The scent of roses intensified, mingling with whispers of Earl Grey tea and freshly baked pastries, conjuring a sensory symphony within the attic's confines. As my gaze remained ensnared by the photograph, the boundary between past and present blurred. The figures gained a newfound depth, their forms transitioning from mere images to living entities. The woman in white materialized with heightened clarity, a pendant around her neck catching the light in mesmerizing patterns. The room's temperature continued its gentle descent, prompting me to draw my sweater snugly around my shoulders. Shadows stretched across the attic, yet the photograph retained its subtle luminescence. Intricate details emerged, a teacup poised on a garden table, its contents swirling in perpetual motion, a butterfly suspended mid-flight, its delicate wings quivering as if stirred by an unseen zephyr. Time itself seemed to ebb and flow as I sat enraptured, swaying gently in the aged rocker. The woman's gaze bore into mine across the expanse of years, conveying an unspoken message that transcended time. The pendant glimmered anew, evoking a sense of familiarity akin to a whisper in a silent chamber. With night's approach, the attic dimmed, yet the photograph retained its gentle radiance. The woman's outstretched hand now gestured towards a small, enigmatic door nestled within the mansion's background. Curiosity stirred within me, pondering the mysteries concealed beyond its threshold. The distant music, now clearer, hinted at a waltz echoing on the fringes of perception. The party guests in the image swayed as if caught in an eternal dance, their movements ethereal and timeless. The woman in white remained statuesque, her enigmatic smile guarding a secret known only to her. A realization dawned upon me. The woman bore an uncanny resemblance to my grandmother in her youth. Memories flooded my mind, tales of garden parties, twilight melodies, and enigmatic enigmas lost to the sands of time. As the night descended outside the attic window, the photograph gradually reverted to its original state. The figures stilled, the luminescence faded, and the spectral music receded like a departing tide. Lingering in the air was the mingled scent of roses and the mustiness of the attic, a bittersweet reminder of the ephemeral nature of memory. Tenderly returning the photograph to its album, I acknowledged the inevitable return to this enigmatic scene in the days to come. Descending the attic stairs, my grandmother's pendant rested against my chest, its weight a comforting presence. In the tranquility of the evening, a phantom waltz seemed to echo faintly, a reminder of the mysterious passage of time. Some enigmas, I realized, are best left unsolved, suspended in the twilight between reality and reverie. The woman in the pearl-white dress had imparted her enigma unto me, a tale whispered across the chasm of ages. Perhaps some stories are destined to awaken only when we are prepared to perceive them, fading once more into the soft embrace of memory. Story 20. In the deep hush of midnight, while nestled in my bed, a stray echo caught my attention, a voice that carried a blend of familiarity and aching distance. The soft hum of the air conditioner and the gentle rustle of leaves outside mingled together, forming a spectral choir that stirred up long-forgotten memories of someone or something I believed to be long gone. That night, my bedroom felt transformed. Moonlight cascaded through the window, painting intricate silver patterns on the walls, shapes that seemed to breathe with a subtle rhythm. The air held a peculiar weight, reminiscent of the stillness before a summer storm, a weight that made everything feel expectant and poised. Shadows in the corners seemed deeper than usual, as if they were gathering together to exchange whispered secrets among themselves. Once more, the voice drifted to me, softer this time, riding on the edge of my perception. It reminded me of wind chimes swaying in a gentle breeze, their melody carrying a hint of inherent sorrow. Slowly, I sat up, the blanket slipping off with a gentle whisper of fabric. The cool, solid wooden floor beneath my feet grounded me in reality as my thoughts drifted into the realm of the inexplicable. Moving through my home at night had always been a dance of familiarity and caution, but that night, each room held an unfamiliar aura. The hallway stretched out before me, its walls seeming to absorb the dim light rather than reflect it back. Family photos lined the walls, their familiar faces now somehow more distant and remote than I recalled. The voice guided me to my study, where books stood in neat rows along the walls, their spines forming a tapestry of muted colors in the darkness. My old reading chair sat empty, yet there was an aura of anticipation lingering around it, as if it had just been vacated. The leather still retained a hint of warmth, and beside it, my grandmother's antique table lamp cast a soft, pulsating pool of amber light, seemingly alive with each whispered breath. Something peculiar caught my eye among my collection of vinyl records. One album stood slightly apart from the rest, its sleeve showing signs of frequent handling. I couldn't recall the last time I had touched it, yet there it was, waiting like a patient messenger. The dust cover of the record player was lifted, though I was certain I had closed it the night before. Almost involuntarily, I lifted the record from its sleeve. The vinyl surface caught the warm glow of the lamp, reflecting concentric circles of light that spiraled towards the center, beckoning me with a hypnotic allure. Placing it on the turntable, the needle found its groove without my intervention, and music began to play. Not the symphony I anticipated, but the soothing sound of rain falling on a tin roof, mingling with distant piano notes that seemed to emerge from the depths of memory itself. The voice intertwined with these sounds, more distinct now, uttering words that felt like fragments of a conversation from a dream. It spoke of summer evenings spent on a porch swing, of promises exchanged beneath starlit skies, and of time slipping away like sand through gentle fingers. The antique clock, a relic from my grandmother, ticked away steadily in the corner, marking time with its brass pendulum, each swing stretching into what felt like an eternity. It spoke of her, conjuring memories of evenings spent listening to her tales, her hands busy with needlework under the warm glow of the same lamp. Had she known something about this ethereal voice? Had she left me a message that I was only now beginning to decipher? The room's temperature shifted imperceptibly, creating currents of air that made the lamp's light dance. Shadows took on different hues of darkness, revealing intricate patterns that reminded me of the lace doilies my grandmother used to craft, patterns that seemed to hold hidden meanings. Sinking into my reading chair, its worn embrace enveloping me, I followed the rhythmic cadence of the voice. The words began to align with the pendulum of the clock, weaving a hypnotic tapestry of memory and enigma. My fingers traced familiar patterns on the chair's armrest, following grooves worn by years of similar gestures. The bookshelves seemed to breathe in time with the voice, their contents shifting almost imperceptibly. One book stood out, a volume of poetry gifted to me by my grandmother long ago. Its spine glowed faintly in the lamplight, and I realized the voice was reciting verses I had once read aloud to her in her final days. Time flowed like honey in winter, thick with significance yet resistant to being quantified. With each passing moment, the voice grew clearer, though its message remained just beyond complete understanding. It spoke of connections that transcended time, of love echoing through generations, of memories dwelling in the spaces between heartbeats. As the first light of dawn crept through my window, the voice began to fade, the record continuing its silent revolution, the lamp flickering one last time. In that moment, I grasped something profound about the essence of memory and loss, understanding how some voices never truly depart. They merely wait for the opportune instant to whisper their truths. When morning arrived in full, I found myself still in the reading chair, the record player silent, the lamp extinguished. The room bore no trace of my nocturnal encounter, save for a single book of poetry lying open on the side table, its pages adorned with my grandmother's delicate annotations. Whether what I had experienced was a dream or reality seemed less significant than the lingering emotion it left in its wake, a sense of connection to something vast and mysterious, yet intimately familiar. Though the voice had faded with the night, its echo lingered, a tender reminder that some mysteries are meant to be felt rather than solved, experienced rather than explained. In the ensuing quietude, I found solace in the uncertainty, in the space between comprehension and wonder, where the most exquisite mysteries find their dwelling place. Story 21. In the hushed depths of the night, as I sifted through a trove of aged letters, a single page captured my attention. The ink on it glimmered softly under the tender light of my desk lamp. The script, elegant and haunting, seemed to pulse with a mysterious glow, while the scent of antiquity hung in the air, tinged with a whisper of the otherworldly, a suggestion that these words held a life of their own, a hidden essence waiting to be unveiled. This particular page, nestled among the ordinary correspondence in the old wooden box passed down from my grandmother, stood out like a star in the night sky. The weathered brass clasp, yielding with a soft protest, revealed a world of secrets within. While most of the letters whispered faded tales of yesteryears in sepia tones, this one beckoned me with its enigmatic allure. The paper, cool and smooth beneath my touch, exuded a silk-like texture that set it apart from the rest. Drawing it closer, the luminescence of the ink intensified, casting a mesmerizing dance of light and shadow. The words seemed to sway and shimmer, evoking visions of moonbeams caressing tranquil waters. My grandmother, keeper of this mysterious missive, had never spoken of such glowing letters. Yet here it was, penned in her familiar hand. The more I delved into its contents, the more its secrets unfurled. Mundane topics of gardens and weather morphed into cryptic messages when viewed through a different lens. Intricate patterns emerged in the margins, shifting and fading like frost on a window pane, weaving a tapestry of symbols and stories beyond the written word. The room fell into a deeper silence, as if the very atmosphere held its breath in anticipation. The gentle tick of the clock on the wall synchronized with the pulsing ink, creating a hypnotic cadence that enveloped me. A subtle warmth radiated from the page, akin to the caress of sunlight through leaves, drawing me further into its mystical embrace. Within the letter lay a family secret, a legacy whispered through generations of women. It spoke of hidden gifts that stirred beneath the full moon, of words that unveiled their truths only to those who knew how to listen with eyes shut. A connection to something ancient and profound stirred within me, linking me to a lineage of luminous revelations. Memories of my grandmother guiding my hand as I learned to write took on new meaning. Had she been aware of the ink's mystical nature all along? Outside, the moon played hide-and-seek with passing clouds, casting ethereal patterns on my desk. The letter responded to this celestial dance, its glow ebbing and flowing in harmony with the nocturnal symphony. A gentle breeze wafted through the room, carrying the fragrance of night-blooming jasmine, the same blooms my grandmother tended. Inspired by the letter's enchantment, I poured my thoughts into my journal with her cherished fountain pen, now in my possession. To my wonder, my own words shimmered faintly with a celestial glow, a silent echo of the letter's luminosity. As dawn approached, the radiance of the letter waned, but its impact lingered, reshaping my perception of reality. The divide between ordinary and extraordinary blurred, revealing a world where magic and mystery intertwined seamlessly. Safely returned to its resting place, the letter hinted at the beginning of an odyssey into this enigmatic legacy. Now, when I write with my grandmother's pen, I observe how the ink captures the light, infusing my words with a subtle radiance. In those tranquil moments between wakefulness and slumber, I sense a connection to generations past and future, a continuum of luminous storytelling that transcends time. The riddle of the glowing ink remains unsolved, and perhaps that is as it should be. Some mysteries are best left unexplained, their allure preserved in the delicate balance between the tangible and the ethereal. And so, I continue to write, watching as each word glistens with promise in the gentle embrace of night, carrying forward a legacy of luminous tales into the realms of dreams. Story 22, The Forgotten Symphony. In a mansion shrouded in the veil of abandonment for decades, a profound silence reigned, almost palpable in its aliveness. The grand foyer, a hall of faded glory, lined with dust-clad portraits and tattered drapes, exuded a stillness that whispered of bygone memories. Every creak of the decaying floorboards, every murmur of the wind through shattered windows, carried tales long locked away, beckoning me to listen. The late afternoon sun filtered through worn curtains, casting elongated shadows that danced upon the faded wallpaper. My footsteps, hushed echoes in the quiet expanse, stirred the settling dust motes in the air with each advancing stride. The musty aroma of aged wood and forsaken memories permeated my senses, mingling with the faint sounds of branches caressing the glass panes in a delicate lullaby. Drawn like a moth to a flame, I found myself gravitating towards a sweeping staircase, its once grand banister now dulled by the relentless passage of time. Ascending, my hand trailed along the smooth wood, only to discover a peculiar phenomenon. The dust beneath my fingertips vanished, revealing gleaming sections that seemed freshly polished. The wood emitted a gentle warmth, a stark contrast to the prevailing chill enveloping the mansion. The second floor unveiled a lengthy corridor flanked by closed doors. Here the silence took on a different quality, dense and anticipatory, akin to the pause between heartbeats. I discerned a subtle shift in temperature as I passed each doorway. Some areas emanated a gentle warmth, while others held pockets of cool air, prompting me to draw my jacket tighter around me. One door stood slightly ajar, offering a glimpse into an ancient study bathed in the amber hues of sunset. Books lined the walls in a silent sentinel, their faded spines hinting at the knowledge they safeguarded. A massive wooden desk commanded the room's center, its surface veiled in a thin layer of dust, save for one pristine circle, as if a recent object had been moved. Approaching the desk, the floorboards sighed beneath my weight, and the chair, turned at an angle, gave the impression of a recent departure. In the dust-free circle, a faint impression of writing materialized, visible only in the right light. Drawing closer, I deciphered the cryptic message, "We never truly leave." As the sun dipped lower, shadows elongated across the study floor, and a subtle shift in the room's atmosphere became apparent. The air stirred gently, though no windows were open, and books emitted soft settling sounds, their pages rustling as if caressed by unseen hands. Seating myself in the chair, I traced the smooth wood grain of the desk, the room now suffused with a comforting warmth that defied the chill outside. Patterns emerged in the ambient sounds surrounding me, the creak of wood, the distant whisper of wind, the subtle movements of objects, forming a mysterious language just beyond my grasp. Time lost its hold in that secluded chamber, minutes melting into hours as I absorbed the enigmatic aura. The encroaching darkness outside felt not ominous but embracing, cocooning the study in an intimate embrace. Dust motes pirouetted in the waning light, crafting fleeting shapes that resembled writing, faces, always shifting beyond focus. As night descended, a remarkable event unfurled. The dust-free circle on the desk emitted a faint, pulsating luminescence, barely perceptible yet undeniably present. The glow ebbed and flowed, infusing the room with a subtle warmth that resonated with each pulse, illuminating the words, "We never truly leave," in the obscurity. Compelled by an unseen force, I extended my hand to touch the glowing circle, and a profound tranquility washed over me. The mansion's silence metamorphosed into a melodic symphony of whispers, a harmonious blend of sounds that had always lingered, waiting for attentive ears. Each creak, each whisper bore significance, narrating tales of those who had tread this path before me. Upon rising to depart, I noticed my watch had ceased its ticking at some indiscernible moment during my vigil. The darkness of the house now bore a different weight, akin to a sentient presence rather than a mere absence of light. Traversing the hallway and descending the stairs, I realized the mansion's silence had never been void. It held a treasury of untold stories, yearning to be heard by a receptive soul. Often I ponder a return to that mansion, to recline once more in that study as night descends. In the quietude of my own abode, I catch echoes of that melodious silence, a reminder that spaces harbor more than mere memories. They safeguard fragments of all souls who have traversed their thresholds, awaiting acknowledgement in the dust and shadows. Story 23. Drawn by an unexplainable urge to explore, I journeyed into an old theater on the edge of town, its former splendor now faded into a state of decay. The lavish balconies and velvet seats murmured of days long gone, filled with applause and theatrical drama. Stepping onto the creaking stage, a faint, echoing voice reached my ears, reciting lines tinged with both sorrow and yearning. The sound reverberated off the weathered walls, mingling with the musty aroma of aged curtains and abandoned aspirations, casting doubt upon the emptiness of the theater. A gentle autumn breeze whispered through unseen crevices, orchestrating a subtle symphony of rustling papers and distant murmurs. Each of my footsteps landed softly on the wooden stage, as if the boards themselves exhaled beneath my weight. The air held a peculiar density, as if traversing through layers of memories suspended in time. Above me, the grand chandelier hung motionless and silent, its crystals cloaked in dust, yet occasionally catching glimpses of light filtering through the lofty windows, casting delicate patterns that danced across the walls. Intrigued, I gravitated towards the wing of the stage, where forgotten props lay veiled in sheets that undulated like gentle waves in the dim light. The elusive voice I had heard seemed to emanate from this direction, though now reduced to little more than a whisper. Among the forsaken set pieces, I stumbled upon an ancient dressing room mirror, its surface obscured by age, yet retaining an otherworldly gleam. As I drew nearer, the air around me cooled noticeably, though not uncomfortably so. The mirror appeared to pulsate with a subtle energy that eluded explanation. Within its reflection, I glimpsed movements that did not align with my own, like phantoms of performers from a bygone era still honing their craft. The voice grew slightly clearer, a feminine tone perhaps, reciting lines from what appeared to be a tragic love story. Her words carried a melodic allure, simultaneously soothing and melancholic. Time seemed to warp within this space. Minutes elongated into hours as I delved deeper, uncovering crumbling playbills at my touch and costume pieces that retained a faint trace of perfume. The voice continued its gentle soliloquy, guiding me through the forgotten recesses of the theater. In the orchestra pit, scattered sheet music adorned ancient stands, the notes faded yet faintly discernible, as if awaiting the return of musicians to breathe life back into them. As evening approached, the quality of light filtering through the windows altered, casting elongated shadows that appeared to move with intent across the seats. The voice grew in strength, though never surpassing a gentle murmur. Seated in one of the better preserved velvet chairs, I observed as dust particles pirouetted in the waning sunlight. The theater seemed to pulsate around me, its walls expanding and contracting under the weight of countless narratives. In this moment of serenity, I comprehended that the voice was not addressing anyone in particular. It was the theater itself, recollecting. Each word carried fragments of performances past, of standing ovations and tearful farewells, of opening nights and final curtain calls. The soothing rhythm of the voice interlaced these memories into a delicate tapestry, enveloping me in a cocoon of nostalgia. As night descended, darkness introduced a new dimension to the voice, resonating from all directions simultaneously, infusing the air with a gentle vibration. The words grew clearer, yet their significance remained just beyond grasp, akin to recollecting a dream upon awakening. The chandelier above now caught the moon's glow, casting iridescent refractions that danced across the ceiling like an aurora borealis. Drifting between consciousness and slumber, the voice acted as a tender lullaby. The boundary between reality and reverie blurred further. In these twilight moments of awareness, I could almost envision the phantom audience, their silhouettes suggested by the interplay of moonlight and shadow. Enveloped by a profound peace as night deepened, the voice began to fade, gradually retreating like the tide from the shore. Its departure left behind a sense of gratitude, as if my presence had acknowledged and validated the myriad tales held within these walls. The theater settled around me, groaning and sighing like an old friend preparing for rest. When I eventually stood to depart, the voice had dwindled into a mere memory, a faint echo in my mind. Yet the theater felt altered, more vibrant somehow, despite its abandonment. As I made my way towards the exit, each step accompanied by the gentle protest of aged floorboards, I realized that certain places never truly empty themselves. They merely bide their time, cradling their stories close until a listener appears. Even now, months later, I am occasionally drawn back to that theater in the twilight hours. The voice remains, sometimes a mere whisper, a gentle nudge that behind every curtain and beneath every layer of dust, narratives await those willing to listen. The theater endures as a sanctuary, where the boundary between past and present blurs, and where memories twirl like dust motes in the moonlight, forever preserved in the soft echoes of that mysterious voice. Story 24. In a forgotten corner of a time-worn manor, I came upon a rusted key perched upon a dusty table. Its ornate design whispered of tales from days long past. The air, cool and musty, carried echoes of distant voices, urging me to seek out the lock meant for this enigmatic key. Soft light filtered through grimy windows, casting elongated shadows over ancient floorboards that murmured beneath my cautious tread. Each step I took produced gentle creaks that seemed to dance harmoniously with the gentle patter of rain outside, creating a soothing symphony of sound. Holding the key in my hand, I felt its weight and traced the intricate patterns etched into its surface. Time had painted it with hues of copper and moss, yet the craftsmanship remained evident, intricate swirls and delicate flourishes that spoke of a craftsman's tender touch. As my finger followed the winding patterns, I noticed they subtly formed shapes akin to blooming vines. The walls around me bore faded wallpaper, its design barely visible under layers of dust and age. But in certain spots where the light caught just so, I glimpsed elegant motifs, mirroring the key's intricate design. My fingertips brushed against the wall, sensing the texture of the ancient paper, and beneath it, something more. Faint irregularities in the surface, hinting at a hidden pattern. A gentle breeze wafted through the corridor, carrying scents of old books, wood, and a mysterious sweetness I couldn't quite place. Perhaps it was the lingering essence of perfume, preserved in the silent air of this forgotten realm. Venturing further into the wing, my eyes adjusted to the deepening shadows. The rain outside whispered a tranquil melody against the windows, as my hand, still clasping the key, grew warm from contact, as though stirring from a long slumber. In the soft darkness, I sensed subtle shifts in the air, slight changes in temperature, barely perceptible movements in the atmosphere. The mansion seemed to breathe around me, its ancient walls pulsing with the rhythm of the weather. And then, a peculiar section of wall caught my eye. The wallpaper there flowed in a unique manner, drawing my gaze to a specific point. As I neared, my heart quickened not with fear, but with an eager anticipation of unveiling something extraordinary. Tracing my fingers along the wall, I discovered a slight recess. With a gentle press, a hidden panel swung open, revealing a keyhole that shimmered faintly in the dim light, adorned with the same vine-like motif as the key in my hand. With steady hands, I inserted the key, feeling it slide in effortlessly, as if waiting for this precise moment all along. The mechanism turned smoothly, accompanied by soft clicks that echoed through the corridor. Beyond the doorway lay a chamber that stole my breath. Sunlight filtered through a dust-coated skylight, bathing a room frozen in time. Draped furniture cast ethereal shadows in the muted light, while a grand writing desk dominated one wall, covered in papers penned in elegant, faded script. It was the array of objects meticulously arranged on shelves that captivated me. Intricate clockwork contraptions, delicate music boxes, and enigmatic instruments whose purposes eluded me. Each item bore the same flowing vine design seen on the key. Standing amidst the tranquil silence, interrupted only by the gentle rain, I realized I had unearthed something precious. Not merely a concealed chamber, but a space where time itself seemed to ebb differently. The air held a sacred stillness, as if the room existed in a realm slightly detached from our reality. The secrets hidden within the papers on the desk, and the identity of the creator of this clandestine haven remained elusive. Some enigmas, perhaps, are destined to remain unsolved, lingering in that hazy space between truth and fancy. Even now, years later, I ponder if it was all a reverie. Yet, the weight of the key in my pocket, still warm to the touch, reassures me that certain mysteries are best cradled in the gentle embrace of the unknown. Story 25. On a serene evening, while leisurely wandering along the riverbank, a peculiar sight captured my attention. It wasn't my own reflection gazing back at me from the water's surface. Instead, a ghostly image materialized, observing me in silence. The soft whispers of the river, intertwined with the earthy aroma of damp soil and wildflowers, hinted at hidden depths beneath the tranquil exterior of the water. My evening walks by the river had always been a source of solace for me. The way the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with hues of amber and lavender, the gentle rustle of the wind through the tall grass, and the mossy ground cushioning my every step, it was a sanctuary for my soul. Yet on that particular evening, a subtle shift in the atmosphere was palpable. The air hung with a peculiar stillness, as if nature itself held its breath in anticipation. As I peered intently at the water's surface, the enigmatic reflection remained motionless, unaffected by the gentle ripples spreading across the river. It resembled a face, albeit an ethereal one, not entirely human, its features shifting and morphing when I tried to focus on them. However, the eyes, deep and all-knowing, remained a constant presence, exuding a sense of familiarity that stirred something within me. The faint sound of gravel underfoot accompanied my cautious approach to the water's edge. A cool mist rose from the river, carrying with it the sweet fragrance of water lilies and moss. In the distance, the gentle call of an owl blended harmoniously with the flowing melody of the river, creating a symphony of nature's own making. I found myself drawn back to that spot night after night, compelled by an inexplicable force that defied rational explanation. Each visit unveiled new wonders, subtle movements beneath the water's surface, elusive melodies rising from the depths, barely audible over the river's constant hum. The face in the water became a comforting presence, akin to an old friend harboring untold secrets. With the passage of weeks, subtle transformations unfolded in my surroundings. The wildflowers bloomed more vibrantly near my spot. Fireflies danced in greater numbers, casting a soft green glow over the water like celestial beings. The very air crackled with a gentle energy, caressing my skin with a tingling sensation of enchantment. One tranquil evening, bathed in the silver glow of the moon, a remarkable discovery awaited me. As my fingertips grazed the water's surface, a surprising warmth greeted me, defying the cool night air. Ripples of light emanated from my touch, resembling liquid stardust. The face in the water smiled, not with its lips, but with its eyes, emanating a warmth that touched the depths of my being. In that moment of revelation, understanding dawned upon me. The river was not merely a mirror of reflections. It was a portal to a realm existing beyond our own, visible only to those who dared to truly see. The spectral face was not a ghostly apparition, but a gateway to a hidden reality intertwined with our own, waiting to be unveiled by the perceptive observer. Sometimes, as twilight descends and the world grows hushed, faint whispers of ancient tales drift in the river's gentle current. Though the face appears less frequently now, its essence lingers in the water's ebb and flow, in the dance of light and shadow, in the rustle of leaves upon the surface. The river has transcended its role as a mere waterway. It has become a custodian of enigmas, a repository of secrets that unravel only to those patient enough to listen. This tale, shrouded in mystery, was a secret I had kept close to my heart until now. Skeptics may dismiss it as a figment of imagination, a trick of light and shadow playing upon a weary mind. Perhaps they are correct. Yet, on tranquil evenings, when reality fades into the realm of dreams, I return to the river's edge, and on rare occasions I glimpse those knowing eyes in the watery depths, a silent reminder that some mysteries are felt rather than seen. The face in the river imparted a profound truth. Some questions need no answers, and some enigmas are best left unsolved. Now, as I tread along the riverbank, I carry this profound wisdom as a cherished secret, understanding that the boundary between the ordinary and the extraordinary is as fluid as the ever-changing water, a constant reminder of life's mysteries waiting to be embraced. Story 26. In the hushed embrace of twilight, amidst the labyrinthine alleys of the city, a peculiar verse caught my wandering gaze. Etched in faded ink upon a weathered brick wall, the rhyme beckoned with a melody both eerie and enchanting. The night air carried whispers of rain and nostalgia, as if the very essence of the urban landscape yearned to divulge its ancient secrets to those willing to heed its call. Tracing the lines with hesitant fingers, I felt a subtle pulse beneath the surface, a ghostly heartbeat of words suspended between reality and memory. The handwriting, a mosaic of styles, seemed to tell a tale of collaboration across time, each stroke adding a layer to the enigmatic message. A symphony of voices, disparate yet harmonious, echoed through the cobblestone street as if seeking to be heard. As the street lamps flickered to life, casting gentle shadows upon the wall, a subtle shift in the atmosphere unfolded. With a sense of intrigue, I reached for my phone to illuminate the verse, only to witness a mesmerizing transformation. The words danced and rearranged themselves under the artificial glow, a cryptic ballet of language defying logic and reason. In the quiet of the night, I committed the verses to memory, their meaning seeping into my consciousness like a forgotten dream resurfacing. They spoke of shadows as companions, of memories intertwined with fleeting moments, and of a melody whispered only to the receptive walls. Night after night, I found myself drawn back to that mysterious inscription, its allure growing stronger with each visit. Soon I noticed similar rhymes adorning other walls across the city, like chapters in an endless saga written by unseen hands. The city itself seemed to pulse with a hidden energy, the rhythm of life and history interwoven in the very fabric of its streets. Captivated by the unfolding mystery, I captured each new discovery through my lens, though the images blurred as if reluctant to be confined. With each passing day, my perception shifted, attuning to the subtle nuances of the urban symphony. Sounds morphed into melodies, raindrops became notes in a silent composition, and the city revealed itself as a living, breathing entity with stories etched into its very core. Standing before the original wall, surrounded by silent companions drawn by the same inexplicable force, I felt a profound sense of connection to something greater than myself. The rhyme painted a portrait of a bygone era when cities whispered secrets and walls held memories long forgotten by the rush of modernity. Through changing seasons, the verses adapted, mirroring the ebb and flow of time. In the heat of summer, they shimmered like mirages. In autumn rains, they flowed like rivers of ink. In winter frost, they glistened like jewels in the pale sunlight. Each transformation a testament to the enduring spirit of the words, evolving with the pulse of the city itself. To this day, I return to the wall, a silent witness to the ever-evolving narrative etched in its weathered facade. New lines appear, penned by invisible hands, expanding the tapestry of voices that intertwine in a chorus of mystery and wonder. Each visitor leaves with a unique impression, a silent conversation with the enigmatic verse that lingers long after they have departed. The allure of the rhyme remains unsolved, a riddle that defies logic and reason, inviting contemplation and introspection. In a world where answers are often swift and readily available, the enduring mystery of the urban verse offers solace in the unknown, a reminder that some truths are meant to linger in the spaces between shadows and whispers. As night descends and the city surrenders to its nocturnal cadence, I find myself pondering the unseen authors whose voices blend in silent harmony on the walls. Are they still out there, weaving their tales into the fabric of the city? Do they too feel the magnetic pull of the enigmatic rhyme, drawn to the timeless dance of words and whispers that echo through the urban landscape? In this shared silence, we stand united by an invisible bond, connected by the unspoken language of the streets and the eternal mystery that binds us together in a tapestry of urban enchantment. And as the city slumbers beneath a blanket of stars, I am reminded that some stories are meant to be felt rather than understood, their essence lingering in the spaces between dreams and reality, waiting to be discovered by those who dare to listen. Story 27. On a typical evening, as the rain fell unexpectedly from the darkened sky, I sought shelter beneath the protective canopy of an awning. The droplets cascaded down, creating a symphony of nature's own making. Amidst the rhythmic drumming of raindrops on the pavement, a faint, urgent whisper caught my attention, carried by the storm's embrace. The air was cool and moist, saturated with the fragrance of fresh rain and distant thunder rumbling in the distance. The whispered message held a promise of secrets waiting to be unveiled, whispered by the storm with determination. I stood there, transfixed by the hypnotic beat of rain against the canvas above me. The whisper repeated itself, more distinct this time, as if a presence lingered just behind my shoulder. I turned, expecting to find a figure or source, yet all that met my gaze was emptiness and the encroaching shadows of twilight. The street lamps flickered to life, casting a gentle glow that created ethereal halos in the misty atmosphere. The voice beckoned me forward, luring me into a narrow passage between weathered brick buildings. Normally, I would have dismissed such an urge as mere folly, but on this peculiar evening, there was an undeniable allure in the whisper, a gentle insistence reminiscent of my grandmother's soothing bedtime tales. With cautious steps, I ventured into the alley, the rain easing into a delicate mist, as if nature itself had hushed to listen. The warmth of the brick walls enveloped me, defying the chill of the evening, exuding a sense of ancient wisdom acquired over centuries of sunlit days. My footfalls created soft splashes in the shallow puddles, sending mesmerizing ripples that reflected the dim light above in intricate patterns. The alley expanded into a secluded courtyard, shielded from prying eyes by the embrace of surrounding structures. At the heart of the courtyard stood an ancient fountain, weathered by time and weather, its stone worn smooth by the caress of ages. Water trickled from its spout in a melodious cascade, harmonizing with the rain in a tranquil symphony that calmed the soul. The whisper now seemed to radiate from the very core of the fountain, growing more insistent as I drew nearer. Clusters of small blue flowers adorned the base of the fountain, their petals aglow with an otherworldly light that pulsed in harmony with the falling water. These blossoms, a fusion of the ancient and the newborn, existed in a realm beyond time, captivating my senses. Kneeling beside the fountain, a sense of familiarity washed over me inexplicably. Faint markings adorned the stone's surface, resembling cryptic symbols that eluded any recognizable language. As my fingers traced the enigmatic characters, they shifted and transformed beneath my touch, akin to words written in water. The whisper evolved into coherent words, resonating with tales of memories and pledges, of cyclic time spiraling akin to the fountain's waters. It narrated the arrival of other wanderers who had stumbled upon this hidden sanctuary across epochs, each beckoned by the same gentle call on rainy nights. In the fountain's reflective pool, visions materialized that defied logic, glimpses of bygone eras, alternate lives, and fleeting moments when others had stood precisely where I stood now. These apparitions wavered and dissipated like fading dreams upon waking, leaving behind a faint imprint of their existence. The pulsating blue flowers cast gentle shadows that danced upon the courtyard walls, imbuing the atmosphere with an enchanting allure. Time flowed differently within this hallowed space, akin to honey cascading from a spoon, unhurried and sweet. A sense of tranquility enveloped me, dispelling any urgency or fear amidst the encroaching darkness. The whispers transformed into a comforting melody, akin to a lullaby from childhood, half remembered and cherished. Seated by the fountain, I embraced the gentle patter of rain, which formed a curtain separating this sanctuary from the mundane world beyond. The whispered revelations, veiled in mystery, seeped into my consciousness, destined to linger in the recesses of my dreams. When I eventually rose to depart, a solitary blue flower detached itself, floating into my outstretched palm. Though its luminance had dimmed to blend with reality, its beauty remained undiminished. As I retraced my steps through the alley, the whispers gradually faded, yet their essence lingered like a fond embrace. Emerging onto the street, I discovered that the rain had ceased, though the air retained a palpable humidity. The familiar glow of street lamps illuminated the glistening pavement, resuming the rhythm of daily life. Yet within me, I carried the subtle transformation wrought by that hidden courtyard's enigma. On rainy evenings thereafter, a faint echo of those whispers drifted on the breeze, stirring memories of promises whispered in the rain and mysteries concealed just beyond ordinary perception. Resting upon my windowsill, the blue flower appeared unremarkable to any passing glance, but in the quiet depths of night, it continued to radiate a soft luminescence, a reminder of the ethereal promises entwined in the storm's whispers. Story 28. On a calm, rainy night, as the heavens opened up and showered the earth, I ventured outside to retrieve my umbrella. It was then that I discovered a series of muddy footprints leading away from my doorstep. The raindrops fell steadily, creating a soothing symphony as they tapped against the pavement, while the moist air enveloped me in a mysterious aura, hinting at an unseen visitor whose presence lingered in the shadows. Beneath the glow of the porch light, I observed the water droplets gradually erasing the defining edges of each footprint, blurring them into faint, shapeless imprints on the wet concrete. The rain cascaded in gentle waves, drowning out the usual nighttime noises with its calming white noise. My breath materialized in wisps of mist as I pondered the enigmatic marks before me. These footprints were unlike any I had seen before, not quite matching the size or shape of my own shoes, yet there was a strange familiarity about them. They seemed to be crafted with deliberate intent, each step placed with precision. What intrigued me the most was the subtle shimmer that danced across them in the dim light, as if they held minuscule specks of moonlight within. Driven by an inexplicable curiosity, I followed the trail, my own footsteps whispering softly on the moist ground, accompanied by the gentle patter of rain on my coat. The air carried the earthy scent of the rain-soaked soil, intermingled with a delicate, sweet fragrance reminiscent of old books and dried flowers. The path meandered through my garden, where raindrops adorned leaves and petals like strings of glistening pearls. The night-blooming jasmine had unfurled its blossoms, releasing a celestial perfume that mingled with the misty air. The footprints navigated between the flora with meticulous care, never disturbing a single stem or leaf, as if the one who left them knew the garden intimately. As I continued to trace the trail, I noticed a peculiar phenomenon surrounding the raindrops that fell near the footprints. They seemed to pause momentarily before making contact with the ground, creating fleeting orbs of suspended water. This subtle detail would have easily escaped notice had I not been attentively observing. The garden path eventually led to a small clearing where I often admired the setting sun. Here, the footprints formed a perfect circle, as if the mysterious figure had stood there, turning slowly in contemplation. Within this circle, the grass appeared subtly altered, more shimmering perhaps, or imbued with an inexplicable vitality. Each blade swayed as if moved by an unseen breeze. Kneeling down, I ran my fingers over the ethereal grass blades, feeling a coolness that seemed to resonate with a gentle vibration that traveled up my fingertips. While the rain maintained its rhythmic cadence, within the circle, each droplet seemed to emit a faint, melodic hum as it descended from the heavens. Standing up, I noticed that the footprints continued beyond the circle, yet they had transformed. They now appeared fainter, barely discernible against the dark earth, as if the presence that crafted them was gradually fading into obscurity. The peculiar, sweet scent from earlier lingered in the air, intertwining with the rain's embrace, evoking a sense of tranquil serenity. Following the diminishing trail led me to the ancient oak tree at the edge of my property. Its colossal branches extended like protective guardians, their leaves whispering enigmatic secrets in the rain-soaked night. The footprints ceased at the tree's base, or perhaps they ascended its trunk. Under the veiled cloak of rain and dim light, the boundary between the marks and the natural intricacies of the bark blurred. Placing my palm against the moist bark of the oak, I sensed the same subtle pulsation that had resonated within the grass circle. The tree seemed to throb with a dormant energy, akin to a slumbering heart beating in slow, harmonious cadence. Rivulets of water cascaded down its trunk, forming fleeting patterns that almost resembled cryptic inscriptions, dissolving before my eyes could decipher them. As I stood there amidst the rain, a profound transformation enveloped the atmosphere. The air crackled with a gentle electricity, akin to the anticipation preceding a rainbow's emergence. The raindrops orchestrated a choreography of light and shadow, dancing in synchronization with an unheard melody. Though I never laid eyes on my silent visitor that fateful night, Their ethereal presence had metamorphosed my familiar garden into a realm of enchantment and novelty. Even upon returning to the shelter of my home, shaking raindrops from my coat, the echoes of their passage lingered in the air around me. The peculiar, sweet fragrance clung to my garments for days, and occasionally, amidst the rain's gentle lullaby, I would catch fleeting echoes of it. Now, on tranquil, rainy nights, an unexplainable pull draws me outside, yearning to uncover fresh footprints weaving through my garden. While the elusive visitor has yet to reveal themselves again, a subtle shift has manifested in the rainfall, in the garden's growth, in the oak tree's dance with the wind. My silent visitor bequeathed more than mere footprints. They bestowed upon me a gentle enigma that unfurls with every raindrop's descent. As I pen these words by lamplight, with another storm on the horizon, I ponder if the visitor merely passed through, or if they infused a part of their essence into this sacred space. In the moments before slumber claims me and the rain whispers its lullaby outside my window, I swear I can discern distant footsteps harmonizing with the rain's gentle cadence, as if an ethereal presence still wanders through my garden, leaving no traces save for their intangible essence. Story 29. While sorting through forgotten treasures tucked away in the dim recesses of my home, a peculiar discovery awaited me. A locked drawer nestled within the ancient embrace of an ornate desk. With gentle determination, I coaxed the stubborn lock open, revealing a pristine note tucked within its confines. The paper, weathered and tinged with the sepia hues of time, bore the elegant script of yesteryears, hinting at enigmatic truths veiled within the shadows of the house's past. A delicate fragrance, reminiscent of cedar and antiquity, wafted from the note, beckoning me to unravel its secrets. As the fragile paper unfurled beneath my touch, a soft murmur, like the sigh of aged parchment, wove through the tranquil room. Evening's tendrils slipped through the lace curtains, casting ethereal shadows that pirouetted upon the desk's time-worn surface. An atmosphere pregnant with anticipation thickened the air, yet it cradled me in a gentle embrace akin to the hush before a summer rain. The note bore witness to bygone days, its date inscribed in a sweeping hand that whispered of a different epoch. "My dearest friend," it began, drawing me into its narrative, each word a tantalizing thread in a tapestry of mystery. The author unfurled a tale of peculiar occurrences within these very walls, phantom footfalls echoing through vacant corridors, objects shifting in silent ballet when no soul bore witness, and most peculiar of all, fresh blooms adorning a vase with each full moon's ascent. Enthralled, I sank deeper into my chair, ensnared by the unfolding saga. The writer divulged the existence of a clandestine chamber concealed within the house, veiled behind walls that harbored untold secrets. Within this hidden sanctum lay not treasures of gold or gemstones, but a trove of memories suspended in the amber of time. The steady cadence of my grandfather clock marked time's passage as I delved further, its pendulum swinging in a hypnotic arc. The author recounted the unearthing of an ancient journal secreted within the walls, chronicling the lives of the house's inaugural denizens. Yet these were no ordinary accounts. They spoke of dreams interwoven across generations, of murmured confidences that transcended the shackles of time. As twilight draped the world beyond my windows, I kindled a brass lamp, casting a golden luminescence upon the manuscript's pages. The note alluded to cryptic symbols etched into doorframes throughout the manor, sigils I had long deemed as mere embellishments. However, the writer unveiled a revelation. These glyphs formed a map, guiding the seeker to the hidden chamber's threshold. Fingertips tracing the paper's edge, I absorbed the writer's struggle to decipher these enigmatic symbols. Some waxed prominent with the moon's phases, while others waned into obscurity. The susurrus of wind through swaying boughs outside painted a backdrop to my reading, casting ephemeral shadows upon my chamber walls. The author's conviction burgeoned. The house pulsed with the echoes of memory, a benign custodian of tales past. Cloaked not in foreboding, but in a tender vigilance, its walls whispered of bygone lore. Approaching the note's denouement, the writer unveiled a revelation of profound magnitude. Dreams, or perhaps memories, began to assail their slumber. Vivid tableaus of the house's history, anchored by a woman garbed in azure, her silence pregnant with unspoken truths. She beckoned across the veils of time, a harbinger of revelations nestled in the house's heart. A final enigma lingered in the note's parting words. When the midnight bells toll 13 times, and moonbeams caress the seventh step, the path shall reveal itself to those who listen with their heart's ear. Bated breath held me rapt as I absorbed these cryptic phrases, attuned to every murmur of the house, the soft groan of timber, the sibilant exhalation of zephyrs, the imperceptible whisper of time's passage. The note, unmarked by signature, yielded no answers, only further queries. As I carefully folded it once more, a detail caught my eye, a faint sketch nestled in the corner, a familiar geometric pattern teasing at the fringes of remembrance. Casting a gaze across the darkening room, illuminated solely by the lamp's warm glow, I sensed a shift in the house's aura. Not unease, but a sentient awareness, a recognition of the myriad sagas enshrined within its walls. Every creak, every shadow, every nuance in the air bore significance, a silent symphony of histories whispered in the hush of night. Returning the note to its resting place within the drawer, unlocked and unguarded, intuition whispered that this enigma was but the prelude to a grander odyssey, an unveiling as gradual as the burgeoning dawn. Enveloped by encroaching darkness, I pondered the prospect of communing with the enigmatic lady in blue within the realm of dreams, and the enigmas she might unveil in the nocturnal hours. The grandfather clock's metronome continued its tranquil vigil, while a distant church bell tolled the passage of time. Absently counting the chimes, my thoughts lingered on the riddle woven within the note's confines, and as the final reverberations ebbed into silence, a rustle, faint as gossamer, teased the room. The whisper of satin skirts, the ephemeral caress of a blue-clad figure traversing an empty expanse. Story 30. In the dusky embrace of my unkempt backyard, a peculiar sight beckoned to me. The vines draped along the weathered wooden fence rustled softly, as if sharing secrets in a language known only to them. Bathed in the gentle glow of distant streetlights, the leaves exuded the fragrance of new beginnings and enigmatic whispers. Their silent dialogue stirred a curiosity within me, prompting me to ponder the hidden messages nature had woven into their very being over the passage of time. Nightly strolls through my garden had always been a source of solace, but on this particular evening, an unfamiliar aura hung in the air, a stillness pregnant with anticipation, akin to the hush between heartbeats. Approaching the fence, the murmurs of the leaves grew more distinct, almost musical in their cadence. These vines had been a constant presence since my arrival, quietly claiming more territory with each changing season. Yet, it was only now that I felt compelled to truly notice their presence. The soft crunch of fallen leaves beneath my feet provided a rhythmic backdrop to the nocturnal symphony of the garden. Crickets serenaded the night, while a distant wind chime added sporadic notes of crystalline clarity to the ambient melody. Drawn closer to the fence, my fingers trailed along the aged wood grain. The texture felt both familiar and foreign, as though the fence itself had undergone a subtle transformation beneath the entwining vines. And then, I saw them, hidden carvings, barely discernible amidst the lush growth, etched into the wood with intricate precision. They bore no resemblance to any language I knew, yet emanated a sense of eerie familiarity, akin to half-remembered dreams. My fingertips traced the delicate grooves, and the vines seemed to shiver in response, their leaves quivering despite the stillness of the night. As weeks unfurled into months, a nightly ritual took hold of me. a ritual of visiting the fence, documenting its cryptic patterns in a leather-bound journal that rested by my bedside. I would often linger for hours, listening to the whispers of the vines as the moon waltzed across the sky. The garden transformed into a sanctuary where time meandered at its own leisurely pace, akin to honey trickling on a sun-kissed afternoon. Gradually, changes began to manifest within the carvings. They shifted imperceptibly between my visits, eluding my gaze as if engaged in a clandestine dialogue of their own. New symbols emerged while others faded, as though the fence itself partook in a silent exchange with its own reflection. The vines, too, seemed to follow suit, their tendrils delicately tracing the enigmatic symbols with a precision that bordered on otherworldly. On a particularly tranquil night, as I leaned against the fence, a subtle vibration coursed through the aged wood. Barely tangible, it resonated with a rhythm that mirrored the undulating dance of the vines. Surrendering to the sensation, I closed my eyes, allowing it to envelop me. The customary nocturnal sounds of the garden dissolved, replaced by ethereal whispers that transcended mere words. They conveyed impressions, memories of sunlit days and rain-kissed nights, of seasons in eternal flux, of conversations whispered in long-forgotten gardens. Images flickered before my mind's eye, hands tracing similar patterns, eyes observing the tendrils of vines with a reverence reserved for ancient rituals. The fence, it seemed, had stood witness to far more than I had fathomed, collecting tales akin to moss collecting dew at dawn. With the advent of autumn, as daylight waned and shadows lengthened, my journal burgeoned not only with sketches but also with fragments that resembled translations of a forgotten tongue. Pages appeared inscribed in my own hand, though my conscious mind bore no recollection of penning them. These words spoke of primordial gardens, of wisdom woven into the very fabric of burgeoning life, of messages encoded in the very essence of leaves and tendrils. Yet the most remarkable metamorphosis unfolded within me. My dreams became tapestries woven of verdant growth, of patterns spiraling and shifting like living hieroglyphs. I came to realize that the fence was more than a mere barrier. It was an archive, a living chronicle of all that had transpired within its shadowed confines. The vines were not mere climbers, but scribes meticulously transcribing the passage of time in a language understood solely by the earth itself. To my neighbors, I must seem an enigma now, spending hours in communion with my fence and its enigmatic vines. They failed to comprehend the solace I derived from these twilight dialogues, from the gentle rustle of leaves that now carried a semblance of coherence with each passing night. At times, I muse on whether the fence had chosen me, patiently awaiting a listener who would heed its silent narratives. I have never cleared the vines nor attempted to decipher all the carvings. Some enigmas, I have come to realize, are destined to be experienced rather than dissected. Instead, I nurture the garden, ensuring the vines have ample space to burgeon and unfurl their ethereal verses. Come nightfall, I sit with my journal, transcribing the whispered wisdom bestowed upon me, contributing my own humble chapter to the eternal saga of the fence. It stands resolute, its weathered planks guarding untold secrets beneath their verdant shroud. And should you listen intently on a tranquil evening, you may discern it too. The gentle rustle of leaves engaged in an age-old dialogue, the faint creak of wood that cradles memories like water, and the murmured promises of mysteries yet unveiled. Story 31. On a serene, starlit evening, I ascended the rusty fire escape of a time-worn apartment building and stumbled upon a collection of mesmerizing graffiti masterpieces adorning the rooftop. The vivid hues and intricate patterns wove a narrative of fervor and heartache, bathed in the gentle luminescence of the city below. The crisp night breeze, redolent with the essence of urban showers and concrete, enveloped me in a sense of bearing witness to the enigmatic creations of an unseen artisan. Night after night, I found myself inexplicably drawn back to that elevated haven. Each nocturnal pilgrimage unveiled new intricacies in the artwork that had eluded my notice before. Delicate spirals of midnight blue intertwined with shimmering silver strokes, forming designs that seemed to dance and transform in the moon's gentle caress. The soft murmur of the wind weaving through the neighboring structures provided a tranquil soundtrack to my contemplations. I embarked on documenting the evolving murals as they never remained static. Occasionally, a fresh blossom would unfurl in a hidden nook, its petals painted in rich purples and ethereal whites. Other times, mathematical equations would be subtly integrated into the backdrop, their numbers and symbols flowing like lyrical verses across the concrete canvas. The building's inhabitants remained mum about the artwork. When I inquired of the elderly woman residing on the top floor, she merely offered a serene smile, stating her preference for the elevator. The maintenance worker nonchalantly shrugged, citing restricted rooftop access. Yet there I was, night after night, bearing witness to the evolution of the artistry. One dusk, I brought along my sketchbook and settled into my customary spot, intent on capturing some of the intricate nuances. The atmosphere carried a different weight that evening, laden with promise and humidity. As I sketched, I noticed faint handprints materializing in the condensation on the rooftop's glass skylight. They manifested gradually, as if pressed from beneath, then dissipated, akin to morning frost. I initiated a ritual of leaving small offerings for the mysterious artist: fresh paint tubes, pristine brushes, even a thermos of steaming tea on chilly nights. By daybreak, the gifts would invariably vanish, replaced by subtle alterations to the murals. A new avian figure might perch precisely where I had left the offerings, or an artful depiction of the tea's vapors would be seamlessly incorporated into the existing tableau. The alterations took on a more intimate tone. Fragments of my own existence began to materialize within the artwork. My cherished book depicted on a painted shelf, the pattern of my scarf interwoven into a border, the exact hue of my eyes mirrored in a painted pool. The artist observed me as I observed their creations. Winter crept in, ushering in shorter days and lengthier nights. The rooftop transformed into a sanctuary where time flowed differently. Some evenings, I'd arrive to find the paint still wet, glistening under the starlit canopy, yet the artist's presence remained elusive. The fresh paint bore no footprints, leaving no trace of its creator. Amidst a particularly tranquil snowfall, I unearthed a novel addition to the mural, a portrayal, not of a person, but of a moment. My inaugural night on the rooftop, depicted from behind, capturing a figure gazing at the initial mural. The attention to detail was astounding, down to the way my hair had danced in the breeze that night. However, in the painting, I was not alone. A shadowy silhouette stood beside me, their hand outstretched towards the wall, clutching a brush that dripped with starlight. I extended my hand to touch the painted likeness of myself, and my fingertips emerged coated in a fine glistening powder that resembled crushed diamonds rather than paint. It shimmered in the light, appearing to meld into my skin, leaving behind a subtle radiance harmonizing with the murals. The subsequent morning, I found my hands tingling with an urge to create. Unthinkingly, I grasped a brush that had materialized beside me and commenced painting. The colors flowed like a stream, like reminiscence, like reveries. I toiled until daybreak, and upon stepping back, I beheld that my style seamlessly melded with that of the enigmatic artist. I now comprehend why the residents maintained silence regarding the rooftop artist. Some enigmas are meant to be experienced rather than elucidated. On certain nights, I still ascend to the rooftop, though I can never quite ascertain if I am there to create or to observe. The boundaries between artist and spectator have blurred, akin to wet paint merging with wet paint, birthing something entirely novel. The murals persist in their metamorphosis, concealing our clandestine bond within layers of hue and luminescence. On tranquil nights, when the stars align harmoniously, you might chance upon two shadows painting in unison on that rooftop, one casting a gentle radiance, the other wielding a brush dripping with starlight. Yet upon closer inspection, you might discern that both shadows emanate from the same individual, neither possessing enough substance to be real. Story 32. Following a twilight stroll through a gentle drizzle, I chanced upon peculiar chalk markings etched into the damp sidewalk. The faint words, arranged in a mysterious rhyme, softly glowed under the street lamp's gentle light. Amidst the mingling scents of rain and chalk, the message called out to me, urging me to uncover its veiled significance. I knelt down, feeling the chill of the concrete seep through my knees, and delicately traced the intricate lines with my fingertips. The chalk possessed an unusual quality, almost like crystal, shimmering lightly upon contact. Each symbol was meticulously crafted, with flowing curves that surpassed the realm of ordinary sidewalk artistry. The rhythmic patter of raindrops provided a calming soundtrack as I delved into the enigmatic script before me. The rhyme unfolded before my eyes. When the moon's light wanes and shadows sway, ancient words come out to play. 7 steps towards the morning's glow unveil the gift of sight aglow. My whispered recital drifted on the evening breeze, and a subtle shift in the atmosphere enveloped me. The overhead streetlight flickered briefly, casting dancing shadows upon the cryptic inscription. As I continued to scrutinize the chalk markings, a peculiar realization dawned upon me. Despite the steady drizzle, the writing remained pristine, untouched by the rain. Droplets slid off the letters, as if repelled by an unseen force. The longer I observed this phenomenon, the more attuned I became to a faint humming sound, barely audible amidst the evening's ambient noises. Night after night, I found myself drawn back to that spot, driven by an inexplicable force. Each visit unveiled new intricacies previously unseen. At times, the words seemed to shift slightly, rearranging themselves with each change in perspective. The surrounding air always hummed with a gentle static charge, causing the fine hairs on my arms to stand on end. One particularly tranquil evening, I resolved to follow the rhyme's instructions. Beneath the waning moon, I positioned myself eastward and took 7 deliberate steps. With each footfall, the humming intensified, resonating within me like distant wind chimes. Upon the 7th step, a subtle warmth spread through me, starting at my fingertips and spreading inward. The world around me transformed, revealing new depths and nuances. Colors appeared more vibrant, shadows more intricate. I glimpsed layers of reality previously concealed, whispers of motion in stillness, hints of light within darkness. The gift of sight unfolded as promised by the rhyme, albeit in ways I hadn't foreseen. What captivated me most was the absence of fear or overwhelm in this newfound perception. Instead, a profound peace settled within me, as if I had finally adjusted my vision to a clearer focus. The gentle rain persisted, creating a shimmering veil through which these newfound vistas danced. In the ensuing weeks, I noticed my enhanced sight ebbing and flowing like the moon's phases. During these cycles, I discerned other chalk messages appearing throughout the neighborhood, each one unique yet crafted from the same crystalline substance with meticulous precision. The creator remained unseen, though a silent presence often lingered nearby, observing with quiet amusement as I uncovered each new revelation. The original rhyme remained my favorite, and I continued to visit it regularly. With time, I realized that the message transcended mere words on concrete. It was a key that unlocked something dormant within me. The soft humming became a constant companion, a gentle nudge towards the hidden marvels surrounding us. Some nights, when the rain fell just so, and the streetlight cast its ethereal glow, I would sit beside the chalk markings, listening to the world's whispered secrets. This tale remains mine alone, a cherished mystery I keep to myself. For some enchantments are best savored in solitude, where reality and dreams meld seamlessly. The rhyme endures, unwavering against time or weather. I sometimes ponder if others perceive it too, or if it patiently waits for the right soul to pause, kneel down, and trace those luminous letters with curious fingertips. Perhaps one day you will encounter your own enigmatic message, inscribed in that strange, shimmering chalk that gleams beneath the streetlights on rainy evenings. Story 33. In the dimly lit attic of our ancestral home, I stumbled upon a forgotten relic, a weathered, wind-up soldier with a worn-out grin concealed under a blanket of dust. The air was heavy with the scent of old cardboard and nostalgia as I cradled the toy in my hands, sensing that it harbored a silent tale from a bygone era, patiently awaiting its revival. Sunlight filtered through the lone round window, casting elongated shadows on the wooden floor with each step I took, rousing a dance of glistening dust particles in the golden beams. The soldier's metallic key felt cool against my fingertips as I twisted it, the familiar clicks echoing a melody that had once brought joy to a child's heart. Yet, there was an uncanny difference about this particular plaything. Instead of winding down after a few rotations, it continued to accept my touch, surpassing the typical limits of such a small mechanical device. The clicking evolved into a soft, almost hypnotic rhythm, captivating me in its enchanting cadence. A gentle breeze whispered through the attic, though no windows were ajar. The temperature dipped ever so slightly, and the light took on a softer, ethereal quality, transforming into a gentle glow. The soldier's once flat, painted eyes now seemed to possess a depth I had previously overlooked. Placing the toy on an aged trunk, I watched in hushed awe as it came to life. Not with the usual jerky movements of wind-up toys, but with a graceful fluidity that defied explanation. Its miniature boots tapped softly on the wooden surface, harmonizing with a faint melody that seemed to emanate from the very air itself. An elusive tune, hauntingly familiar yet impossible to pinpoint. The attic's shadows elongated, deepened, yet not menacingly so. They pulsed in sync with the melody, akin to silk drapes swaying in a gentle breeze. I found myself swaying, entranced by the mysterious aura enveloping me. As I stood mesmerized, the soldier's movements began to weave a narrative. Each step, each pivot conveyed intention, a dance laden with significance. Intricate patterns emerged in the dust around the trunk, not footprints, but delicate swirls reminiscent of vintage photographs depicting military formations of a bygone era. The melody grew clearer, accompanied by the scent of pine trees and campfire smoke, though we were miles away from any woodland expanse. Memories not my own permeated the air, children's laughter from distant summers, the cadence of boots on parade grounds, the soft notes of a music box playing at twilight in a nursery. Time flowed differently within that space, the sunlight perpetual, trapped in a golden hour of eternal radiance. Settling into an old rocking chair, its gentle creak joining the symphony of subtle sounds, I observed the soldier's enigmatic dance. Its chipped paint seemed to ripple and shift, appearing as a simple toy when directly focused upon, but transforming into glimpses of a full-sized uniform, gleaming metals, a countenance both youthful and aged in my peripheral vision. Hours may have slipped by, or mere minutes, as the attic's usual clutter assumed an otherworldly quality, each object linked to the soldier's dance by invisible threads of narrative and memory. Dusty tomes fluttered their pages in time with the melody, forgotten photographs emitting a soft glow within their frames. When the soldier's movements gradually waned, the melody fading like a lullaby drifting into slumber, it came to a halt facing me, its painted smile now imbued with a knowing, perhaps grateful expression. Retrieving it, I sensed a gentle pulse akin to cradling a sleeping bird, neither warm nor cold, but teeming with a tranquil energy. The winding key ceased to turn, signaling an end to its mechanical dance. As I tenderly wrapped the soldier in a cloth and stowed it in my pocket, the attic returned to its ordinary state, silent, dusty, bathed in mundane shadows. Yet the silence now bore a weighty promise, hinting that every forgotten object held similar enigmas, awaiting an opportune moment to divulge their tales. Placing the toy soldier on my nightstand that evening, I noticed its smile had shifted once more, a subtle yet unmistakable transformation. It now exuded a sense of serene contentment, akin to one who had finally found their way home. On certain nights, suspended between wakefulness and dreams, I fancied I caught a faint echo of that enigmatic melody, carrying within it the reveries and recollections of all who had held this toy in ages past. Story 34. In the quiet embrace of a local museum housing historic portraits, there existed a painting that defied the norms of its companions. Amidst the dignified figures captured on canvas, my eyes were drawn to a faint presence lingering in the background, a spectral entity not belonging to the visible world of the portrayed subjects. Whispers of bygone eras and the faint scent of aged wood filled the air, creating an atmosphere ripe with intrigue and mystery. The gallery was a sanctuary of solitude that afternoon, with only the occasional soft footsteps of a vigilant guard disrupting the tranquil stillness. Sunbeams of autumn danced through tall windows, casting elongated shadows upon the gleaming wooden floor, illuminating a dance of dust particles suspended in the golden light. The essence of the museum enveloped me, a blend of ancient timber, oil pigments, and the hint of metal from ornate frames. Repeatedly, I found myself drawn back to the enigmatic portrait that captured my curiosity. It portrayed a Victorian family in their opulent drawing room, each member adorned in their finest garments. The matriarch sat elegantly in a grand chair, her velvet gown cascading in rich cascades of darkness. Behind her, the patriarch stood with a hand gracefully resting on the ornate chair, while the children were arranged in a tableau of innocence. Yet, it was the elusive figure in the background that held a magnetic pull on my gaze. Almost obscured by a painted curtain, it existed as a mere whisper of a form, a shadow within shadows. The more I delved into its enigmatic presence, the more convinced I grew that this spectral addition was a deviation from the original work, a mysterious anomaly woven into the fabric of the painting. Time seemed to suspend as I stood before the portrait, my reflection a ghostly apparition in the protective glass that shielded the artwork. A subtle chill permeated the air around this particular painting, akin to the frigid breath of winter seeping through an open window. With reverent fingers, I traced invisible patterns in the air near the frame, following the contours of the hidden figure without breaching the barrier of glass. The guard's rhythmic pacing became a comforting backdrop as I immersed myself in the study of the painting, each inspection revealing new intricacies, the subtle shifts in the hidden figure's posture, the avoidance of the family's gazes, the transformation of the children's expressions from innocence to knowing under different perspectives. A soft voice broke my reverie, and I turned to find the curator, a silver-haired woman with wisdom etched in her gaze, standing beside me. With a knowing smile, she acknowledged my prolonged fascination with the painting. I gestured towards the mysterious figure, inquiring about its origin. Her response carried a weight of history and intrigue, as she unveiled the tale behind the portrait's creation in 1876. An artist vanished before completion, leaving behind a finished masterpiece shrouded in enigma. The family, upon receiving the final work, disclaimed any knowledge of the enigmatic background figure. The curator's words wove a tapestry of mystery around me, each thread tinged with the allure of the unknown. As she shared the portrait's whispered legends, a subtle shift in the gallery's ambience occurred, a passing cloud dimming the sunlight momentarily. In that fleeting shadow, I could swear the hidden figure crept closer to the family, shedding its veil of obscurity. The curator's touch on my arm brought me back to the present, her suggestion of the painting's affinity for me lingering in the air like a cryptic promise. With the impending closure of the museum, I gathered my belongings, yet a lingering gaze towards the painting revealed a surreal reflection, a momentary glimpse of the spectral figure standing behind my own visage, its presence palpable before retreating to its ephemeral existence within the artwork. That night, as I drifted into slumber, the enigmatic painting haunted my dreams, blending gilded frames with endless gallery corridors where painted figures transcended their confines to walk amongst the living. Subsequent visits to the museum became a ritual, each moment spent in silent communion with the portrait yielding subtle shifts and elusive alterations that blurred the lines between reality and illusion. The hidden figure remained a steadfast enigma, a silent sentinel guarding untold secrets within the realm of oils and shadows. More than the mystery of the artist or the nature of the spectral presence, it was the selective revelation of the painting that enthralled me. Some beheld it as a mere portrait, while others, like myself, were granted glimpses into a realm where art and reality intertwined seamlessly. Perhaps certain artworks harbored more than mere pigments and canvases, serving as gateways to realms where distinctions between observer and observed blurred like wet paint on a palette. The portrait hung in silent vigil, beckoning those attuned to its hidden depths, a testament to the enigmatic dance between viewer and viewed. In moments of quiet within the gallery's embrace, bathed in the ethereal glow of perfect illumination, I pondered whether the elusive figure in the background observed me as intently as I scrutinized it, a silent pact between two worlds, bound by the threads of curiosity and mystery. Story 35. In the dusty hallways of an ancient estate, I stumbled upon a worn tapestry hanging loosely on a stone wall. With a gentle push, a hidden door materialized, blending seamlessly into the aged masonry. The air was thick with the scent of old stone and faded roses, creating a peculiar mix of nostalgia and mystery. Tentatively, I pushed the door open and crossed the threshold into a secret chamber that whispered of long-buried enigmas waiting to be unveiled. Moonbeams filtered through a slender window, casting ethereal silver patterns on the wooden floor below. The room, though smaller than anticipated, exuded a sense of timelessness, with shelves stretching from floor to ceiling along 3 walls. Each shelf cradled peculiar artifacts, shimmering crystal bottles holding mysterious liquids, leather-bound tomes devoid of titles, and intricately carved wooden boxes whose designs eluded my eyes in the dim light. The atmosphere within was palpably different, dense, as if time itself had slowed to a languid crawl. A stately grandfather clock loomed in one corner, and its pendulum motionless, its hands frozen at the stroke of midnight. A soft, melodic whisper of wind caressed the unseen cracks, harmonizing with my own rhythmic breath. Approaching a shelf, my gaze fixated on a bottle radiating a faint inner glow. As I reached out to touch it, a peculiar sight met my eyes in its reflection. The gaze of another, ancient and wise, staring back at me with a depth brimming with untold secrets. Setting the bottle down gently, the enigmatic eyes dissolved like morning mist. Among the array of books, one stood out, adorned with silver embellishments that shimmered in the moonlight. Opening it revealed blank pages, yet beneath my touch, I discerned subtle indentations hinting at invisible words. The paper felt like silk beneath my fingertips, inviting me to unravel its silent tale. A dusty music box sat on a table at the room's center, its surface marked by a perfect circular trace, as if an unseen hand had traced it in quiet contemplation. Instead of music, whispers drifted from within, in a language almost familiar, gradually merging with the murmurs of my own thoughts until they harmonized into a symphony of the mind. Each object I encountered left me with more questions than answers, deepening the enigmatic allure of the space. A mirror on the wall offered a distorted reflection, revealing shifting patterns and elusive movements that defied the laws of solitude. Time ebbed and flowed, its passage elusive as I delved deeper into the chamber's mysteries. The room's ambiance shifted subtly, carrying hints of aged parchment and a sweeter fragrance, reminiscent of vanilla or perhaps the mere essence of memory. Nestled behind a stack of journals, a plain wooden chest beckoned, devoid of ornamentation, its dark surface absorbing the moon's luminance. Upon contact, a gentle vibration pulsed through me, accompanied by a warmth akin to a contented feline's purr. The chest's lock, devoid of a keyhole, featured concentric circles that quivered under my touch, aligning in response to an unseen sequence. With a soft exhale, the lid yielded, revealing a solitary item, a letter addressed to the one who finds this room. As I deciphered its shifting script, the words slipped away, leaving behind a profound sense of connection to something vast and enigmatic, yet intimately personal. Returning the letter to its resting place, I observed the moonlight metamorphose into a golden hue, signaling the impending dawn. The room, though still shrouded in mystery, now exuded a sense of familiarity, as if it had acknowledged my presence and imparted a fraction of its enigmas. Reluctantly, I departed, savoring the final details, the ballet of dust motes in the burgeoning light, the cryptic patterns etched into the wooden floor, the soft creak of settling shelves as the air warmed. As I retreated through the doorway, allowing the tapestry to veil the chamber once more, I carried not answers, but a profound reverence for the enigmas that dwell in the shadows of antiquity. At times, I can almost sense the lingering warmth of the wooden chest on my fingertips, hear the distant whispers on the fringes of slumber. And on certain moonlit nights, when the wind weaves through empty corridors, I ponder if the room awaits another visitor, its secrets realigning like the reflections in the mirror, poised to narrate a new tale to the next soul who ventures beyond the tattered tapestry. Story 36. In a lush, overgrown park on a crisp day, I stumbled upon a weathered, ancient bell hanging from a twisted tree branch. Though still and silent, the bell emitted a faint, almost imperceptible chime that blended with the tranquil air. A cool breeze carried whispers of moss and decay, as if the bell whispered a message intended only for nature's ear. I found myself inexplicably drawn to its worn surface, tracing the intricate patterns etched by years of rain and wind. Surprisingly, the metal felt warm under my touch, a stark contrast to the autumn chill enveloping me. There was something about the bell's presence that felt both welcoming and otherworldly, like a relic forgotten from a time when the veil between worlds was thinner. Each day, I returned to the park, meandering along untamed paths until I reached the bell's resting place. The tree cradling it grew more contorted with each visit, its branches seeming to reach out towards the bell in a tender embrace. I began to notice subtle shifts in the atmosphere as I drew near, the way light seemed to dance around the bell, and how the air hummed with a mysterious stillness. At sunset, when the park emptied of its usual bustle, the bell's presence deepened. The fading light would catch its surface, unveiling fleeting symbols that seemed to shift and change, like ancient runes dancing in the twilight. I started carrying a notebook, documenting these ephemeral patterns before they vanished with the setting sun. One evening, as darkness draped the park like a soft cloak, a sound halted me in my tracks. It wasn't the bell's familiar chime, but a soft hum that seemed to emanate from the earth itself. The grass around the tree began to sway gently, though no breeze stirred the air. Transfixed, I watched as tiny points of light emerged from the ground, twirling upwards like luminous seeds carried by an unseen current. The lights circled lazily around the bell, forming patterns that mirrored the symbols I had sketched. Bathed in their gentle glow, I witnessed a remarkable sight. The rust that had cloaked the bell began to recede, unveiling glimmers of brilliant metal beneath. The transformation unfolded gradually, like dew evaporating at dawn. With each subsequent visit, I uncovered new facets of the bell's metamorphosis. The tree's bark sprouted organic patterns akin to the symbols on the bell, and in the quietest moments of twilight, I caught faint whispers carried on the breeze, in languages both familiar and foreign. One misty morning, a small congregation of moths alighted on the bell's surface. Their wings bore the same intricate patterns I had observed, and they remained motionless, as if in deep contemplation. As the sun rose and filtered through the mist, the moth's wings began to glow with a soft, rhythmic light that harmonized with the bell's ethereal chime. Weeks melted into months, and the bell's influence on its surroundings grew more pronounced. Spiraling grass patterns unfurled beneath the tree, and exotic flowers blossomed in its shadow. Park visitors would pause near the tree, their voices hushed as they gazed upwards, though few noticed the bell itself. I came to realize that the bell was more than a mere object. It was a threshold, a bridge between realms where reality blurred and mingled. The symbols I had cataloged weren't mere decorations, but a language, narrating a tale through the subtle shifts in its environment. On the winter solstice, as dusk descended on the park, the air around the bell shimmered like heat waves dancing on a summer horizon. The phantom chime grew more resonant, vibrating through my core, and for a fleeting moment, I glimpsed beyond our world into another realm. It wasn't a dramatic revelation of alternate dimensions, but a gentle merging of perceptions, like two images melding into one. Within that liminal space, I beheld myriad other bells, each suspended in its own reality yet united by a celestial chime. Together, they formed a vast web of gateways, each offering a glimpse into something beyond the ordinary. Now I continue my daily pilgrimages to the bell, no longer seeking to unravel its enigma, but content to witness its slow awakening. The rust fades incrementally, unveiling more of the luminous metal beneath, while the tree's branches cradle it with increasing tenderness. Some days I simply sit beneath its tranquil presence, listening to its silent melody and observing as reality gently warps around its ancient form. I've come to understand that some mysteries are not meant to be deciphered, but rather experienced and absorbed gradually, akin to the changing of seasons or the patient growth of trees. The bell stands as a constant reminder that wonder often speaks in whispers, and the most profound magic reveals itself not in grand gestures, but in the quiet persistence of small, inexplicable occurrences. Story 37. On a radiant afternoon, as I tended to my garden under the warm embrace of the sun's rays, a serendipitous discovery unfolded before me. A loose floorboard in the corner of the shed beckoned for attention, hinting at secrets long forgotten. With a gentle creak, I lifted it to reveal a hidden chamber, a sanctuary of relics and enigmatic trinkets steeped in a hushed aura of mystery. The air within was heavy with the earthy perfume of damp soil and ancient timber, wrapping me in a cocoon of tranquility as I embarked on a journey through time. Each artifact whispered tales of yesteryears, nudging me to unravel the enigmatic past that lay dormant in this clandestine space. Sunlight filtered through the dusty window, casting ethereal shadows upon the weathered tools and terracotta pots, painting a scene of quiet reverence. While organizing my gardening tools, a peculiar floorboard caught my unsuspecting foot, emitting a hollow echo that resonated with untold possibilities. Kneeling down, I explored the unexpected void it concealed, revealing a narrow staircase spiraling into the depths of darkness. As I descended, the temperature plummeted, and the faint patter of distant water droplets danced in the stillness. My flashlight illuminated shelves adorned with an eclectic array of curiosities, each whispering fragments of stories from distant lands and forgotten times. Delicate porcelain dolls with knowing gazes, faded journals filled with cryptic tales penned in bygone ink, and silent brass instruments adorned the shelves, their silent melodies echoing through the chamber. Amidst the treasures, a peculiar music box stood out, its intricate marquetry depicting a garden mirroring my own with eerie precision. Opening it released a soft breath of spring flowers, defying the passage of time with its lingering fragrance. Intrigued, I delved deeper, uncovering details that blurred the lines between reality and imagination. The room's dimensions hinted at a vastness extending far beneath the garden, while celestial markings on the walls painted unfamiliar constellations in a sky unknown to me. Lost in the exploration of this subterranean sanctuary, time ebbed away unnoticed, each moment a whisper of secrets waiting to be unveiled. Photographs captured moments in my garden's history, each figure frozen in a state of reverie akin to my own, as if touched by the same sense of wonder that permeated the hidden chamber. The journals spoke of nature's mysteries, of blooms that danced under celestial guidance, and seeds that sprouted only under the moon's watchful eye. As daylight waned, shifting patterns played upon the chamber floor, casting a spell of ever-changing illumination upon the relics within. A key of intricate design lay within a forgotten drawer, its purpose shrouded in mystery, a silent guardian of the room's enigmatic secrets. Emerging from the depths, I found the garden bathed in the same golden light, as if time had stood still in the realm below. The shed's floorboard settled back into place with a soft sigh, concealing the chamber's mysteries once more, a shared secret between the earth and me. In the tranquil embrace of the evening, surrounded by the whispers of nature, I pondered the profound impact of my discovery. The garden seemed to hum with newfound significance, a harmonious melody of mystery and understanding intertwining with the essence of my being. The hidden chamber beneath the shed had woven itself into the fabric of my existence, an ever-present reminder of the boundless depths of wonder that lay just beneath the surface of the ordinary. As days turned to nights and seasons cycled endlessly, the mysteries of the underground sanctuary became a cherished part of my daily rhythm, a silent symphony of secrets waiting to be explored. The room's existence remained my solitary secret, a sacred space where time flowed languidly and questions lingered without demanding answers. The garden flourished with newfound vitality, occasionally adorned with tokens from the hidden chamber, whispers of a timeless connection between past and present. The secret chamber beneath the garden shed stood as a testament to the enduring allure of mystery, a tranquil haven where time moved at its own gentle pace, inviting those willing to embrace the unknown with open hearts. It whispered of hidden wonders waiting to be uncovered, a silent promise of endless discovery for those attuned to the subtle whispers of the world around them. Story 38. One stormy night, as the rain tapped a gentle melody on my window, my phone stirred with a vibration, signaling an incoming call from an unfamiliar number. In the quiet of my dimly lit living room, the ringtone reverberated like a plea from a distant realm. The air carried a hint of nostalgia, mingled with the petrichor of rain on pavement, evoking a sense of longing for something elusive. Each digit on the screen seemed to pulse with a surreal cadence, casting a spell of mystery in the room. As I stood before the window, drawn by an inexplicable urge, the street lamps painted the wet streets with pools of amber light, their glow dancing in the raindrops like scattered diamonds. The phone continued its subtle vibration, a persistent presence in the tranquil night. The numbers on the screen triggered a memory, a faint echo of a forgotten dream or a childhood tale just beyond reach. My reflection in the window appeared ethereal, blending with the nocturnal landscape beyond. When I finally mustered the courage to answer, the connection crackled with static, reminiscent of a bygone era of analog phones and distant conversations. Initially, only the sound of steady breathing filled the line, accompanied by a faint melody that tugged at the edges of recognition. It was a lullaby, a tune my grandmother used to hum during quiet winter nights. Her presence felt anew in the room. As I sank back into my armchair, enveloped by the soothing sounds, memories emerged from the depths of my consciousness like bubbles surfacing in a pond. The fragrance of lavender hand cream, the rhythmic click of knitting needles, and the warmth of my grandmother's smile all flooded back, painting a portrait of nostalgia in the present. Within the static-laden line, patterns emerged like words forming in a mist. The lullaby faded, but the breathing persisted, a steady anchor in the sea of whispers. My grandmother's old phone number materialized in my mind, aligning with the digits on the screen in a surreal synchronicity. Time itself seemed to waver, as if caught in a delicate dance of past and present. The room pulsated with a gentle rhythm, the lamp flickering in harmony with the breathing on the line. Raindrops continued their serene symphony on the window, blending seamlessly with the distant melody. I found myself humming along, my voice merging with the enigmatic chorus of the night. As the call ended, the static receded, carrying with it a sense of tranquility that lingered in the room. It wasn't a farewell, but a fleeting embrace of comfort, like a familiar melody in an unfamiliar setting. The screen displayed the call duration, a mere hour that felt both eternal and fleeting. Subsequent attempts to redial the number proved futile, met with an automated message of disconnection. Yet, on rainy nights as I sit in solitude, the echoes of that lullaby resurface, accompanied by a subtle static in the rain, a whisper of solace from a realm beyond our own, a gentle reminder of the mysteries that dwell within the shadows of ordinary reality. Story 39. As I ventured into an abandoned structure on a dare, I meandered through a vast, cavernous hall. In the hush, a clear, almost gleeful laughter broke the silence, reverberating off the cold stone walls. The sound held a peculiar charm, yet carried an eerie undertone, mingling with the musty scent of neglect and time. With each cautious step, I trailed after the laughter, delving deeper into the shadows, uncertain if it beckoned as a memory or a cautionary tale. The air grew heavy as I pressed on, bearing the weight of countless untold narratives. Moonbeams filtered through lofty arched windows, casting elongated shadows that danced upon weathered marble floors. The gentle rustle of autumn leaves, carried inside by a whispering breeze, intertwined with the soft murmur of my footsteps, composing a delicate symphony of solitude. Tracing my fingers along the worn walls, I could feel the texture of peeling wallpaper under my touch. The faded, intricate designs still retained whispers of their former grandeur, softened by the passage of time, much like the building itself. Another laughter resounded down the corridor, nearer this time, accompanied by the aroma of aged books and forgotten tales. The grand staircase beckoned me upwards, each step sighing softly under my weight, as if divulging secrets of those who had tread there before me. The polished wooden banister felt cool and smooth against my palm, polished by the passage of countless hands over countless years. Ascending, the darkness transformed, becoming velvety rather than menacing, more an embrace than a threat. On the second floor, I entered a lengthy corridor lined with tarnished mirrors. Their dim reflections captured fragments of moonlight, casting an otherworldly shimmer. The laughter seemed to emanate from all directions at once, as if the mirrors themselves shared an ancient jest. I noticed how the reflections revealed more than just my solitary form. They held fleeting shadows of movement just beyond my peripheral vision, akin to memories struggling to surface. Despite the autumn chill outside, the air within carried a strange warmth, reminiscent of summer afternoons spent in ancient libraries, where sunlight transforms dust motes into twinkling stars. The wooden floorboards creaked beneath my feet in a rhythm mirroring my heartbeat, forging an intimate link between myself and this forgotten realm. A slightly ajar door awaited at the far end of the hall, bathing the corridor in a soft golden light. Not harsh like artificial illumination, but gentle like candlelight or the last hues of sunset. The laughter now exuded from that room, assuming a quality akin to wind chimes in a gentle breeze. Drawing closer, I noticed the intricate carvings adorning the door frame, figures engaged in an endless dance, their expressions caught between joy and an unnamed emotion. Within the room, An antique phonograph stood, its brass horn refracting and dispersing the enigmatic light. The turntable rotated languidly, though devoid of any record. Adjacent to it stood a high-backed chair, its velvet upholstery worn but still vibrant in hue. The atmosphere here felt different, denser, warmer, as if stepping into a memory. The laughter resurfaced, seeming to emanate from the phonograph itself, despite its silence. Seating myself, the chair molded to my form as though awaiting my arrival. The room enveloped me in a serene stillness, akin to the pause between heartbeats. Through the towering windows, the moon hung low in the sky, casting elongated shadows that pulsed with a life of their own. The laughter, now softer, hummed like a gentle melody resonating deep within my chest. Time seemed to blur as I lingered there. Moonlight patterns shifted, weaving tales across the walls. At times, I glimpsed fleeting figures dancing within those patterns, their movements synchronized with the rhythm of the phantom laughter. The room felt simultaneously alien and familiar, like a dream half remembered upon waking. With dawn approaching, painting the sky in hues of soft gray, I sensed a shift within me. The laughter had become intertwined with my essence, or perhaps I with it. The boundary between observer and observed faded thin, like morning mist. When I finally stirred to depart, my movements felt both hastened and languid, as if the room wished to retain me a moment longer. I never returned to that edifice, yet on quiet nights, when the world grows tranquil, I catch echoes of that distant laughter. It visits me in dreams, or in the liminal space between sleep and wakefulness. And in those moments, I ponder if I ever truly departed that room, or if a fragment of me lingers there still, seated in that velvet chair, attuned to the echoes of joy resonating through vacant halls, anticipating another soul to pursue the laughter and uncover what I encountered, or perhaps what encountered me. Story 40. On a chilly evening following a weary day, I stumbled upon an ancient vinyl record resting on my doorstep. Its cover bore the marks of time, shrouded in a veil of enigma, and a faint melody seemed to whisper from within. The crisp breeze carried the fragrance of pine and the rustle of autumn leaves, prompting me to question if this relic held a silent message from days long past. With care, I lifted the record, feeling its weight in my hands. The worn cover displayed a misty forest tableau in muted hues of browns and greens, a lone figure wandering amidst the trees. The title and artist's details had faded into obscurity, leaving only ghostly remnants of letters that my fingertips could trace, but my eyes could not decipher. As twilight descended, casting elongated shadows and bathing everything in a surreal golden hue, a decision stirred within me to play the record. My grandmother's vintage turntable stood in the corner of my living room, seldom touched, yet meticulously preserved. The familiar routine of cleaning the vinyl and positioning the needle brought a sense of solace. The record began its dance, filling the room with the comforting crackle unique to vinyl. Then the music emerged, a haunting piano melody that seemed to float on the evening breeze. The notes rang clear and pure, despite the record's weathered appearance. Though unfamiliar, the piece carried a strange sense of déjà vu, akin to a dream half remembered. Nestled in my favorite armchair, I let the music envelop me. The melody, intricate yet gentle, wove a tapestry that seemed to echo my thoughts. An oddity caught my eye. The room's shadows swayed subtly in time with the music, as if the notes breathed life into the darkness. During the pauses between songs, faint whispers brushed my ears, too soft to decipher but undeniably human in origin. They seemed to converse about something significant, a message meant solely for me, yet always fading before comprehension dawned. The room's temperature subtly shifted, alternating between warm currents and cool whispers, despite the closed windows. The scent of pine mingled with a fragrance reminiscent of old tomes and distant rainfall, growing stronger with each passing moment. As the final track played, the music took on an interactive quality. It mirrored my thoughts, playful and light as I reminisced about childhood, deep and contemplative as I pondered weightier matters. It was as though the record delved into my mind, perhaps guiding it. A peculiar occurrence unfolded as side A drew to a close. The needle lifted, but a soft, barely perceptible hum persisted, carrying echoes of footsteps and fallen leaves, the gentle creak of aged floorboards, and sporadic laughter evoking a familiar presence. Drifting into slumber in my chair, I awoke to find the record silent, the room cloaked in moonlit shadows. The cover art had shifted, the enigmatic figure drawing closer, their visage almost discernible. Every evening thereafter, I played the record, each rendition slightly altered. New instruments occasionally joined the ensemble, tempo syncing with my heartbeat. The whispered conversations between tracks grew clearer, yet the words eluded me. Researching its origins yielded no results. Local shops and online forums held no recognition for the artwork or music. The sole clue remained a small symbol etched on the label, a circular emblem resembling a key or a sideways musical note. The record's influence on my dreams proved most intriguing. Nights when it played, dreams unfolded with vivid landscapes of unfamiliar yet intimately known places. I traversed corridors lined with doors, each concealing a unique melody. The figure from the cover materialized in my dreams, forever just beyond focus, akin to a photograph slightly askew. The record now forms part of my nightly ritual. As it hums softly in the background, its mystifying melody intertwines with the scratch of my pen on paper. Ink shimmers with certain notes, and words rearrange themselves when unobserved. Some mysteries, it seems, are not meant for resolution but for experience. This record of uncertain provenance has bestowed an unexpected tranquility upon my evenings. Even now, I sense its music gently beckoning me to close my eyes and delve deeper into the untold tales it yearns to impart. Story 41. As I sifted through a dusty collection of abandoned art supplies in a quaint thrift store, my fingers brushed against the rough surface of an old sketchbook. Its cover, worn and weathered, hinted at hidden treasures within. Intrigued, I opened it to reveal a series of intricate blueprints detailing a structure unknown to me. The pages, fragile and tinged with age, emitted a faint aroma of graphite and nostalgia. Each line, meticulously drawn, whispered of a mysterious purpose that lay beyond the realm of ordinary comprehension. Night after night, I found myself engrossed in studying these enigmatic designs within the soft glow of my study. The gentle patter of rain against my window providing a soothing soundtrack to my exploration. With each caress of my fingertips tracing the intricate patterns, I unearthed peculiar elements that defied the logic of traditional architecture. Curved passageways folded upon themselves, staircases led to impossible rooms, and windows captured light from inexplicable angles. Yet amidst this architectural enigma, every detail was meticulously recorded with precision and elegance, bordering on the verge of artistic mastery. The marginal notes, written in faded ink, revealed fragments of the architect's thoughts. They spoke of threshold spaces and liminal architecture, concepts that beckoned me to delve deeper into the realms of contemplative wonder. On serene evenings, I sketched my own interpretations of these designs, attempting to grasp the profound philosophy that underpinned them. The soft scratch of my pencil against paper became a meditative rhythm, transporting me into a realm where time seemed to lose its hold. In the stillness before dawn, I could almost sense the spectral presence of the original artist guiding my hand, unveiling the intricate connections that transcended mundane understanding. With each passing day, my perception of space subtly shifted. Shadows took on new dimensions, corners curved imperceptibly, and the very essence of my dwelling seemed to resonate with the language of the mysterious blueprints. One hushed night, bathed in the ethereal glow of moonlight, I deciphered a sequence of hidden numbers woven into the ornate borders of the pages. Like a melodic arrangement or a cryptic code, they mesmerized me, drawing me deeper into the enigma of this architectural symphony. In the realm of dreams, I wandered through the labyrinthine corridors of the structure depicted in the blueprints. The floors beneath my feet shifted with a spectral grace, echoing my steps in a dance of otherworldly harmony. These dreams, far from unsettling, filled me with a tranquil sense of awe, as if I were traversing the physical embodiment of a profound meditation. At the heart of this ethereal edifice lay a chamber adorned with symbols resembling celestial maps and musical scales. According to the notes, this chamber was designed to resonate with the liminal spaces between realms, harmonizing with the very essence of existence itself. As I sit in my study, enveloped by the shadows that dance along the edges of my sketches and the original blueprints, I notice how the silhouettes of tree branches outside align perfectly with the angles of the mysterious designs. It is in these moments that I ponder the existence of a hidden architecture, a realm that exists in the tranquil spaces between thoughts. The identity of the elusive architect remains a mystery, their essence lingering within every stroke of the pen and every meticulously drawn line. I've come to view these blueprints not merely as plans for a physical structure, but as a cartography of the ethereal realms that dwell in the periphery of our consciousness, the gentle, dreamlike spaces we catch glimpses of in moments of pure serenity. Now, as I pen down this account, bathed in the soft glow of lamplight, the weight of the sketchbook on my desk serves as a tangible reminder of the secrets it holds. The rain continues its gentle serenade against the window panes, and the shadows in the corners of my room pulse rhythmically with each distant flash of lightning. In the embrace of this enigmatic mystery, I find solace, embracing the notion that some mysteries are meant to remain unsolved, like a fading dream that leaves behind a sense of tranquil wonder upon awakening. Story 42. On a serene afternoon in a forgotten art gallery, I found myself standing alone amidst shattered frames and abandoned canvases. In the profound quiet, faint footsteps reverberated as though a ghostly presence walked beside me. The air carried the musty scent of aged canvas and varnish, each step triggering a cascade of memories, both triumphant and sorrowful, preserved within the silent corridors. Though the gallery had long been deserted, an inexplicable force compelled me to be here on this particular day. Dust particles pirouetted in slender beams of light that pierced through the grimy windows, casting ethereal spotlights on the worn floorboards. My fingertips trailed along the wall, tracing the textured patterns of the faded wallpaper. The footsteps maintained a steady rhythm, always a constant distance away. Initially, I attributed it to the settling of the old building, or the echo of my own steps in the lofty ceilings. Yet there was an unmistakable difference, a delicate quality, as if belonging to someone more graceful than myself. Passing numerous empty frames, their contents long vanished, leaving only dark imprints on the aged walls, remnants of what once adorned them, I ventured deeper into the gallery. The atmosphere grew cooler, and the subtle scent of oil paint mingled with the musty air. In a secluded chamber, I encountered a solitary painting that endured, a portrait of a young woman in a pristine white gown, her gaze seemingly tracking my every move. The canvas, remarkably well preserved amidst neglect, bore only a date from a bygone century on a small brass plate below, devoid of any artist's name or title. The accompanying footsteps halted as I paused to study the portrait, holding my breath in the hush. Then, barely perceptible, I caught a whisper of fabric rustling, as if a dress grazed the floor behind me. The temperature plummeted, and a shiver raced down my spine, raising goosebumps on my arms. Passing through an adjoining doorway, I entered what appeared to be the main exhibition space. Towering windows stretched from floor to ceiling, their panes clouded with neglect accumulated over the years. Rain commenced its gentle descent outside, its patter blending with the enigmatic footsteps. As I traversed the length of the hall, minute details emerged, previously unnoticed. Scattered brushes, an overturned easel, a palette adorned with dried paint. Every surface was veiled in a thick layer of dust, except for a spot near the far wall where the floor seemed recently disturbed. Here, the footsteps grew slightly louder, revealing a cadence distinct from my own. They ceased whenever I did, yet sporadically continued for a step or two after, casting an unsettling echo. The sound of fabric brushing together intensified, accompanied by a faint trace of lavender perfume. In my peripheral vision, elusive movements flickered, a flash of white, a phantom figure. However, upon direct inspection, only dancing dust motes met my gaze in the dim light. The rain persisted in its gentle rhythm against the windows, casting fluid shadows across the floor like liquid silver. Intrigued, I gravitated towards a door leading to what seemed to be an artist's studio. Empty paint tubes littered a workbench, and an incomplete canvas stood on an easel. The painting depicted a scene that felt oddly familiar, the very exhibition hall I had just vacated, teeming with vibrant light and bustling life, spectators admiring artwork that no longer adorned the bare walls. As I scrutinized the unfinished masterpiece, the footsteps encircled me in a slow dance. The fragrance of lavender grew more potent, and the air chilled until my breath materialized in wisps. A soft humming commenced, barely audible above the rain, a melody on the cusp of recognition, yet elusive. The daylight filtering through the windows acquired a golden hue, defying the overcast skies outside. In that fleeting moment, I discerned the footsteps aligning seamlessly with my heartbeat. Turning deliberately, I caught a glimpse of her, the woman from the portrait, translucent as morning mist, her gown billowing in an imperceptible breeze. She offered a gentle smile, extending her hand in a gesture of welcome. The scent of lavender enveloped me, and I observed a paintbrush delicately held between her ethereal fingers. With a nod towards the unfinished canvas and then the main hall, a realization dawned upon me. This was her domain, her unfinished opus. The footsteps I had heard were her eternal vigil, persisting long after her departure from the physical realm. She wasn't a haunting presence, but a guardian, a creator, a custodian of her artistic realm. I now visit the gallery sporadically, strolling its corridors in a silent companionship with my unseen curator. On occasion, I bring fresh blooms, placing them beneath her portrait. Those days, the footsteps seem lighter, and the scent of lavender mingles with the floral bouquet. In tranquil interludes, I catch faint strains of her humming, tending to her perpetual exhibition. The gallery remains secluded from the public, perhaps rightfully so. Some art beckons to be encountered in solitude, certain narratives best veiled in a gentle enigma. Yet, on rainy afternoons when the light cascades just so through those towering windows, I swear I witness her masterpiece unfurling on the incomplete canvas, stroke by stroke, harmonizing with those echoing footsteps. Story 43. In the hush of an early morning drive, a dense blanket of white fog enveloped the world around me, veiling the landscape in a shroud of mystery. Amidst this ethereal setting, a curious sight caught my eye. A series of enigmatic words delicately etched onto the surface of my car's windshield. These cryptic messages, born from the interplay of condensation and enigma, beckoned me to unravel their secrets hidden within the mist. The air was heavy with the scent of damp earth and pine, a fragrant dance that stirred an inexplicable yearning within me to decipher the puzzle before the fog dispersed. I eased my car to a gentle crawl, the headlights casting a soft, mesmerizing glow that intertwined with the swirling mist. The words on the glass danced and shifted, evolving with each passing breath, like murmurs coalescing in the morning air. Tracing my fingertips along the cool surface, I felt the moisture gather beneath my touch as I delved into deciphering the elusive message. The purr of the engine provided a soothing backdrop as I veered to the roadside, where unseen wind chimes serenaded from distant abodes, harmonizing with the symphony of awakening nature. Embraced by the fog like a protective cocoon, time seemed to bend and sway within this intimate space. The message gradually unveiled itself. What whispers in silence, but speaks to all? The letters, luminescent in their ephemeral grace, pulsed with a subtle, enchanting glow. Sinking back into my seat, I allowed the tranquil embrace of the morning to envelop me, pondering the riddle's profound essence. Through the passenger window, shadows flickered within the mist, ethereal and transient, like fleeting thoughts taking form before dissolving into the nebulous veil. The fragrance of morning dew mingled with a sweeter note, reminiscent of wild honeysuckle and aged parchment, weaving a tapestry of sensory reverie. Lost in contemplation, I discerned a pattern emerging in the mist beyond my windshield. The fog seemed to weave its own cryptic response, shaping letters that mirrored the riddle etched on my window. Mesmerized, I watched as wisps of white vapor coiled and twisted into elusive forms, as the air within the car turned cooler, prompting me to draw my jacket closer for warmth. As the morning light grew in strength, casting a pearly luminescence through the dissipating fog, the original message on my windshield began to fade, replaced by a new revelation. Memory whispers in silence, but speaks to all. The answer resonated deep within, stirring a familiar chord that reverberated through the recesses of my consciousness. Amidst the shifting mist, I caught sight of ephemeral details I had previously overlooked, spectral images suspended in the fog outside, each a fleeting glimpse into moments from my past, tinged with a subtle distortion. The distant wind chimes wove a melody akin to a long-forgotten lullaby, evoking a sense of nostalgia and wonder. As the fog lifted, unveiling the world anew, colossal trees emerged like sentinels, their branches extending through the mist like gentle caresses. The earth beneath my vehicle seemed to pulsate with a rhythmic warmth, as if attuned to the enigmatic unfolding of events. In a quiet whisper, I uttered the answer aloud: memory. The word lingered in the air, prompting the fog to swirl and twirl in response, conjuring images akin to old film reels playing in reverse, each revolution revealing new glimpses of the past entwined with the present. This ethereal encounter left me with a profound sense of unity with a timeless and enigmatic force, bridging the realms of the ancient and the personal, akin to the steady rhythm of my own heartbeat. As the fog dissipated, leaving my windshield clear save for a solitary droplet containing within it a lifetime of memories, I embarked on my journey anew, enlightened by the mysteries that enshroud us in moments of tranquility. The melody of distant wind chimes faded into the horizon, merging with the soft hum of my engine as I pressed forward. In the rearview mirror, the fog lingered, a silent sentinel guarding untold memories waiting to be unveiled. To this day, when morning fog descends, I find myself seeking messages in the condensation, listening for whispers within the silence. In that delicate threshold between wakefulness and slumber, I catch fleeting glimpses of answers to questions yet unasked, each one hovering just beyond reach like letters in the mist. The enigma within the fog taught me that certain mysteries are not meant to be unraveled, but rather felt, experienced, and embraced in the liminal space where reality melds with dreams, where memories intertwine with possibilities, and where the softest whispers often carry the deepest truths.